watching Fox Sports, home to the UEFA Champions League final, the World Series, Super Bowl 45, the Daytona 500, and FoxSports.com.
We are Fox Sports!
Everything old is new again. Yesterday's rain out is history, and we're ready to race. It's NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing from Martinsville, Virginia, presented by Nationwide Insurance. Rain out on Friday affecting qualifying, moving the race to today after rain yesterday. So points leader Kevin Harvick is on the pole. It's a 1-point lead over Matt Kenseth. Shaky today given the short track conditions here. Jimmy Johnson, he's hotter than a brake rotor. He's won 3 of the first 5 races. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. likes his car this weekend, trying to win his first race ever on this track. We're glad you're with us for NASCAR on Fox Live in Virginia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as Dr. Joey McNeil from Fort Trial Baptist Church offers today's invocation.
May we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the beautiful sunshine and a beautiful day for racing. We pray your safety and care upon each driver and crew and fan. Bless us, O God, and continue to bless this great nation of ours and those who defend its freedom. For we pray in the blessed name of Jesus, our Savior. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome the Martinsville High School Jazz Band.
The skies have cleared. It's warming up and drying out. NASCAR's oldest and shortest track. NASCAR on Fox, live from Martinsville.
For a fan, it's fun because you're going to see a lot of bumping and grinding and tire marks down the sides of the cars.
That's always close quarters racing. You're always around somebody. You never get much room to breathe. You never give much room to be easy on your brakes.
I mean, you're in the midst of battle all the time. There's never a break. You never can just like catch your breath.
This place kind of like racing between a couple light poles in a Target parking lot or something. Real tight, slow corners and 2 drag strips hooked up next to them. So it's been a little bit of a struggle for me. It's real slow. It's easy to lose your patience here. There's a lot of bumping and banging around. So it's a tough place.
That's what some of the drivers are thinking. Ready to go 500 laps. We're going to talk live. Darrell Waltrip will with Dale Earnhardt Jr. in just a moment. One of the hot drivers as well. Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, the Hollywood Hotel, and the gang is all here. Think of this as lunch with racing benefits. And I guess a crew chief has to be thinking along with the teams about track conditions today.
It is, Chris, because the racetrack right now, folks, is green. It has no rubber on it at all. The sun is out. We haven't seen sun all weekend long. So a lot of changes are going to be going on during the course of this race. So who did the best job of building those changes in their car early on will do the best.
Now we're going to see a competition caution at about 50 laps.
About lap 50 is what they're calling right now. But the key thing has to be Kevin Harvick. He's starting on the pole. He's got the choice pit selection down there on pit road. And you know how important it is here at Martinsville to be in that #1 pit stall. It should benefit this team and give him advantage over the rest of the field. But the key has to be for guys who are not having that opportunity, like Denny Hamlin. He's a former winner here. He's starting way back on the 19th position. He's got to battle his way up to the front. And just remember, Chris, he was scheduled to have surgery today on his left knee. He'll have it done later on this week. Another car that's further back in the field than he, starting 22nd, it's the 42 car Juan Pablo Montoya. A lot of people said he could have a car that could threaten for a win today at Martinsville.
All right, let's move back up toward the front a little bit and talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's raced here 20 times, finished second, wants that first win. Kind of likes his car this weekend.
He really does. Lance McGrew said the other day that Dale Jr. told him, I really like my race car. My race car is good. And usually when Jr. says that, you better watch out.
All right, it is the 6th race of 36-point races, moved from Sunday to Monday, and we're just about ready for that command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome Henry County Administrator Benny Summerlin.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
So the drivers are ready to roll. We saw a moment ago Chad Knaus, crew chief there with driver Jimmy Johnson. He's won 5 of the last 7 races in Martinsville. He's won 3 of the first 5 races this year, 50 career wins. When you talk about a combo, all-time, Jeff, but Dale Inman, crew chief with Richard Petty, we know they won 7 championships together. Dale Earnhardt, 4 of his 7. He won those with Kirk Shelmerdie. This combo of Knaus and Jimmy, they're working on their 5th straight. We're going to get to see this excellence in action today. Well, we'll be able to listen in as well.
They are a picture of perfection, and you saw Chad Knaus in the window coaching his driver. I mean, this guy's won a lot of races here. Why is the crew chief coaching him? That's because they make a great combination. Remember, last time driver, do this, do this, do this, and we'll win this race today. That's something that you do not see a lot of, and Chad Knaus does it every week.
And it's a good sign for Jimmy coming off a race like Bristol, a place that he had not won before, grabbing that victory. Now, of course, he's comfortable here. We're all comfortable now that Rick Dickert, our Storm Scout, is back at the Fox Storm Sports Weather Center. By the time I say that, the race could be over, Rick. But I hope you have
That's right.
I hope you have good news today. You guided us through yesterday, so help us out. We're going to be able to get all 500 laps in.
The sun is out, Chris. It's looking much better. Yes, I think we're going to get the full race in. There's still a threat of showers, especially later on this afternoon. But look at the radar, a much better picture as compared to this time yesterday. All that action now to the east of the Speedway was to the west, moving in. Now to the west, we still have a couple of showers off to the west that could threaten the race later on this afternoon, maybe even a threat of a thunderstorm. But I think if there are any delays at all, they will be short. It's going to be a cool day with temperatures hovering near 60 throughout the afternoon. Winds will be light. We'll see some clouds move in, mixed in with the sunshine, but we're looking pretty good. But later on, there is a chance of some thunderstorms. So hopefully DW will approve of this forecast. A little better than the last couple days, right? What do you say, Chris?
I would say you're okay. You're off the hook. Thank you very much. That's our Storm Scout, Rick Dickert. Jeff and I'll be watching the race. We have our pit crew here. Let's go upstairs to the voices of NASCAR. They call every race for you here on Fox. Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, Mike Joy. Nice to see you guys on a Monday. You ready to go?
With sun behind us. It's good to still be here. And Chris, calling the race yesterday, absolutely the right thing to do. It rained steadily, it rained hard, and it rained late into the night. The jet dryer started at 8:30 this morning to give us a raceable surface. We're ready to go. And Darrell, 61 years. Martinsville's only rained out the spring race once before. Bobby Hamilton won that one back in 1998, but now we're good to go.
Yeah, I've been coming here a long time, and I really don't recall racing on Monday at all. So, yeah, one time. But today will be fun. Here's why. Because now you know you're going to run the whole 500 laps. You're not in that situation where you got to make a charge to the front because you're only going to run half the race. So today you can run your normal race. We're going to see great racing. These guys had a little extra time to rest up. Crew chiefs had a little time to think about a few more things to do. The car
could be bad.
It'd be fun. And the motor coach 500, they ran that yesterday, and a lot of new ideas floating around in here this morning.
Oh boy! But Larry, they impounded the race cars when the race was called yesterday, so the crews couldn't touch them. They rolled them out on the line this morning, and that's it. But I would bet they had a lot of adjustability built into those cars anyway, knowing we were going to race the rain if we ran on Sunday.
And there's no question, and Jeff Hammond touched on it just a little bit about how different this racetrack is going to be when they start this race versus the middle part of the race. And then the thing that we have not seen in practice is we're going to have a hot, slick track. And I think you throw in the fact it's the same tire that the trucks ran on Saturday, and what I saw in that race on Saturday, tires are going to be pretty important. So a lot like Bristol a week ago, this race could be won on calls by crew chiefs on pit road late in the race.
And by the way, there's a chance of rain every day.
All right. We'll give you a look at the starting lineup for today's race, and keep an eye on Jeff Burton today, because Jeff Burton won every single practice session in every category. He and Mark Martin tied for one, but boy, Burton's going to be one to beat. There's his number 31 as we cycle through the grid. The other news is that Sam Hornish is ill. He will start the race in number 77, but a deal has been made. When Eric Almirola pulls his car to the garage, he is going to stand by for Hornish. Darrell?
Let's see if we can get Dale Jr. here. Dale Jr., it's a DW, got a copy? And Junior, you got a copy, buddy. Hey, buddy, word on the street is you like your car. I like the way it looks. What's up with the paint job?
Well, we got a new flavor on the car this weekend. It's Ambier's sugar-free lightning, and it's kind of like their lemonade flavor. It's really good, and we're carrying that logo this weekend. It makes for a good-looking race car, and happens to be pretty quick. At least it was last Saturday, so we'll see how it goes.
Junior, a lot of drivers like their crew chief to be a cheerleader. What do you like to hear from your crew chief?
I don't know. You just like people to be in the game, you know, be on the same page, and everybody trying to do the same thing, trying to reach the same goal, and you like things to go easy and work smooth, and sometimes you get that combination, and sometimes you don't.
All right, buddy. Well, take the silver bullet to the front.
Pit road speed. Did you get a good reading?
Now this is our FedEx. This is our FedEx understanding the race. The trends of the patterns of the last 9 spring races here at Martinsville. The longest green flag run, average 81 laps. Only twice in those 9 races have we went over 100 consecutive laps of green flag racing. The average number of cars finished on the lead lap, average 17 cars. I think that number will be greater, a lot because of the wave around rule for the first time here in the spring race. And the last caution period, average lap 472, but 4 times in those 9 races in the last 10 laps.
Today's race is brought to you by Budweiser, the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean finish. Budweiser, it's what we do. Let's get some late stories from pit road as we come to 1 to go. Krista?
A lot has been made about the 48 team's pit selection. Unconventional, yes. Uncomfortable, no. Chad Canal said he loves pitting off turn 4, even at Martinsville. The opening made it a no-brainer, and that's where they pitted when they won this race last year.
Krista, Matt Kenseth started out the short track season in 2010 in solid form, finishing 5th at Bristol, but he comes into Martinsville, a place that'll be a great benchmark for he and new crew chief Chad Parrott. Matt's never won here, has only 2 career top 5s. Parrott, he's gone to victory lane not only as a crew member, but also as a crew chief. Dick?
Well, Jeff Gordon is one of the favorites to win here today. He's won more races than anybody else in the field and led more laps than anybody else, Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Kurt Busch off to a great start in this 2010 season and a great starting position. Kurt said this track is going to go through a huge mood swing because of all the rain we had here yesterday.
A day of rain, and now we are ready to race at the short track that thinks it's a super speedway in Martinsville, Virginia.
DW, I know it's Monday, but we still do the same thing. The first short track race of the year. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Green flag in the air. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing today, boys.
If Kevin Harvick leads this first lap, he'll be the first pole sitter to do so since Daytona. And he does.
Boy, he pulls away as they're side by side back there. The 48 car of Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth. He'll slide down in front of Johnson to take the second spot.
Larry, I just can't believe it. I find it hard to believe it wouldn't running that truck race on Saturday would be very, very helpful to Kevin Harvick and his team as far as the race today goes.
Third place, Kurt Busch outside Jimmy Johnson, finishing up where they left off at Bristol. Racing each other for the front.
Tell you what, Kurt Busch in that 2 car is actually making some pretty good ground up in that higher groove. I did not know there would be a second groove here till we got a little bit of rubber down.
Oh yeah, you know what? You always like that outside back when you're back in the field because everybody fights for the bottom. Everybody will slow down trying to stay on the bottom, and sometimes you can make some good moves on that outside.
Well, there was so much rain here yesterday after the truck race. There isn't a first groove. I mean, there isn't a second. There isn't any groove.
There's
so
no groove. It's just concrete. Yeah.
Man, we're just grooving on a Monday afternoon.
Jeff Burton to the outside, pulls up behind Junior, and that's back at about 7th. Harvick steps out to a pretty big lead here. And Stewart tries the inside on Biffle, who gives him just enough room back there for 5th place.
Hey, that 14 car looks good, man. He's right up off the bottom. The car's straight. Like the way that thing looks early on here.
Behind them, Junior and Paul Menard battle side by side. And still a lot of good double wide racing back through the field.
And you know, everybody talked about how good Junior's car looked in practice and how happy he was with it. But you know what? You don't know how good you are until you get out there in the race and you see what everybody else has got.
Darryl, what passes I've seen so far up near the front of the pack, it's almost like you barely get turned under them off the corner, and then you just dive bomb it into the next corner and take that spot away.
Yeah, early in the race, the guy on the outside is, you know, he's sort of a sitting duck. You gotta let that guy that's got the nose in there early on go.
Biffle drops a car length to Menard. Here comes Jeff Gordon on the inside, and Jeff Burton. Now the bottom of the track's starting to rubber up a little bit, and you see the superiority of the low groove. Biffle's going to have to find a place to get in line here.
Well, that's a car gets to the inside of you, and the guys behind them, they start licking their chops. They say, oh, I'm going to feel this hole too, and you just get freight trained.
I'll tell you who's licking his chops. Tony Stewart. He just shot around Jimmy Johnson and is closing up fast on those next 2 cars.
And even though the track's different, I felt like the 14 car from the Saturday practice was awfully good, especially on the long run. Now, just to follow up on what Chris and Jeff was talking about, we'll have the competition caution at lap 50. That's where teams will get a chance to look at their tires. For the first time on this green racetrack, you can pit before them, but you cannot fuel your car until that caution.
17th place, Joey Logano, trying to hold off teammate Kyle Busch, Casey Kane, and Montoya.
Jeff Hammond touched on that 42 car a little while ago. Montoya, certainly one of the guys that hated to see qualifying get rained out. I think if he'll just be patient, work his way to the front, I think he can contend 500 laps here today.
Watching Kyle Busch on the outside, his car doesn't look very good at all. It's all over. It's going up the hill sideways. He can't get back to the bottom. He's in trouble.
Whatever was wrong on that car during practice, Matt, doesn't look like at this point they have it fixed.
Mike, it's carried over to Monday. The same issue. Absolutely no forward bite. He just told Dave Rogers, and when I say no forward bite, 0 ounces of forward bite. We've got some issues.
Yeah, Monday, you can't trust that day.
Stewart is looking over Matt Kenseth for 2nd place as they go to turn 3. He's got it. Kenseth didn't even put up a fight.
Nobody has. They know that 14 is coming.
Yeah, there's no need in putting up a fight because you start wrestling each other, that yellow 29 car, he's going to keep getting smaller and smaller out there. In fact, it won't be many laps before he's going to catch the back end of the field.
And it won't be many laps before that 14 car catches him because he is on a tear.
Floyd, Virginia is south of Roanoke, about 45 minutes north of the Speedway. It's known for a great craft fair every year and for a lot of artisans, and it's home to Darian Grubb, the crew chief for Tony Stewart. So mark this one down as a home game for Darian.
Motivation.
Whatever Kevin Harvick found that he liked in his truck on Saturday when he ran off from the field and beat Timothy Peters in that truck race, he's got it all hooked up to his 29 today.
But I'm sure Darryl will relate to this. As we pointed out, the track is very green. There's no rubber. I would say maybe even in Kevin Harvick's mind right now, and Gil Martin as crew chief, what are we going to have to do to this car? Are we too good right now with no rubber on the track? They know they're going to have to adjust on it even with it being that good early.
Yeah, you're going to be all right here for 100 or so laps because the rubber's going to build up on the track.
And what's up with Biffle? He has fallen from 4th to 19th in just 16 laps.
You can see how loose he is right there.
I
Darryl,
think
he
a lot
picks
of
the
it,
throttle up.
A lot of it is he just got pushed up on the outside and he can't get back down. That's part of it. He lost a lot of spots in a situation there a minute ago. It's not like Talladega, man. You get in the wrong line, adios.
A lot of eyes going to be on Kevin Harvick's pit today, but the record will have to have an asterisk because we're racing on Monday. Harvick's tire specialist, Rob Lopes, has consumed 46 Martinsville Speedway hot dogs this weekend.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is presented by Nationwide Insurance. Call or visit us online for a quote today. And sponsored by Ford. Drive one. Also by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
26 laps complete in Martinsville. Our aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. Head-to-head is coming. Learn how to win $1 million by going to directv.com/NASCAR. Kevin Harvick's led every lap, and he is still one of, if not the fastest cars on the racetrack. But how about two-time Martinsville winner Denny Hamlin?
Yeah, he looks good. The car is really coming up off the corner nice and straight. You see there, rocking back on those rear tires and getting good forward bite. Laying down on those front tires, turning good. Pretty sporty looking right now, Steve.
DW, he's gone from 19th to 9th. He just said that his car is just a little bit tight, but it's getting better and better as the laps go by.
Well, and I think that's what these guys have to do. We're almost 30 laps into this run, and you certainly know that when you started this race, the car was going to be totally different what it's going to be on into a run. You just think about Hamlin. We knew he was going to be a player, even though he's going to have surgery later on in the week on his leg. I mean, the guy led over 500 of 1,000 laps here last year, winning the fall race.
He's won 2 of the last 4 here and has a pole at Martinsville. For more on what Dr. Patrick Connor is going to do, here's Steve.
And Mike, I talked to the team just before the race started. There's an outside possibility that Denny could have knee surgery this afternoon in Charlotte. If he can get to the office by 5:30, they'll go ahead and do the surgery today so he can have as much rehab time as possible. If not, they'll do it Wednesday.
Yeah, those 2 extra days could be huge.
Yes.
We get an off weekend next weekend, and then we head out west to Phoenix in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, drive 500 laps here and then go get a root canal. I don't know about that. Actually get his leg worked on.
5th place battle from Jeff Gordon on back. Now they're going to work the lap car of Kevin Conway, who, remember, swapped numbers with his teammate David Gilliland. Conway now in the 38. And Krista, this pretty angry looking pack of cars here.
Jimmy Johnson started 3rd. He's fallen back to 8th. Jimmy's saying he's having trouble getting back on the gas. Crew Chief Chad Knaus told him, you just ran 60 laps ago a 20:55. I need you at a 20:40.
Yeah, I've been watching him, and the car is looking exactly like it did in practice. They were not all that great in practice. Probably about the 7th or 8th best car. Right now, that's what I'm seeing with him. The car just not where it needs to be for him to go fast.
But I've been watching this. That 11 has about had enough of that 48 car, but I can't but forget a year ago that 48 did the bump and run on an 11 car down in 3 and 4. Hamlin just drove by him that time, though.
Oh, Jimmy will let him go right now.
Jimmy just looked like he just gave him the lane and let him go, so that will move Hamlin.
We'll get you fixed up, bud. Next stop.
There you go.
Move Hamlin up to 8th.
While that's going on, our leader, Kevin Harvick, he's definitely been catching a lot of lap traffic, and he was getting a little impatient a while ago as he was running up on some of those guys at the back.
Well, it's all going to be for naught, Larry, in 15 laps. That's when NASCAR says that they will throw a competition caution, not because anybody's having huge problems out there, but it will give the teams the opportunity to check tire wear on this very green racetrack that got a huge soaking all through yesterday and late into the night.
And I honestly believe if we get a caution anytime after lap 40, I think NASCAR will go ahead and deem that as the competition caution, which is only about 4 laps away.
Good point. Kevin Harvick leading Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart by about 2.5 seconds. 36 laps in at Martinsville. Kevin Harvick, the leader under caution at Martinsville. Joe Nemechek scraped the wall up in turn number 4 to put us under the caution flag. Watch that silver 87.
I think a tire just went down. You see it just take off to the right.
Yeah, the car never turned.
Pretty hard hit for Nemechek. Now, this will count as the competition yellow, which means the cars will be able to fuel on this pit stop. It'll be a normal pit stop, and we will not have a comp yellow at lap 50.
Right. And I think it will be everyone to pit road for 4 tires, and probably in the case of a lot of guys like Greg Buffel, who started 4th and now 27th, a lot of adjustments.
Well, we don't know that, other than the guys that ran the truck race or the notes they got from people that did, you're not sure about this tire because it is a new combination.
David Stremme will get the free pass. He was the first car 1 lap down. Kyle Busch was close to going a lap down at the time of the caution flag. Everybody's still on pit road. Here's Krista.
Jimmy Johnson said he needs the reins loosened on this horse. They need to free up his race car just a little bit. He was complaining before of having trouble getting back on the gas, so they will make a small adjustment, and 4 tires for Jimmy Johnson.
Gordon has gone from 11th to 5th position in a car that he told the crew was very strong in those first laps. Matt.
Tony Stewart very pleased with his race car on entry and exit. They've already made a track bar adjustment up 2 rounds. The car just a little too tight rolling through the center, Steve.
Matt, same exact thing for Kevin Harvick, just a little tight in the center. 4 tires. They have made an air pressure adjustment on Harvick's race car, and he is the first one off pit road.
Tight coming around turn number 2.
Look at this.
What a traffic jam that is.
But Jeff Hammond talked about it. It wasn't that the 29 had the most awesome stop, but they've got the most awesome pit selection because all he has to do is roll right there to that yellow line, and he wins the battle off pit road.
Pretty hard to speed on this pit road because there's no route, nowhere to go.
Like speeding in Manhattan at 5 o'clock.
Right. Excuse me.
Eric Almirola is going to the garage where he'll join Max Pappas, Dave Blaney, Michael McDowell, and now Joe Nemechek. Let's go down to the nationwide pit zone. Jeff Hammond.
Mike, today here at Martinsville, it's all about the brakes, trying to keep them cool and trying to save them. And what you have to do here, because you got to understand, folks, when we talk about brakes, look how big this brake is. The rotor temperatures, 1,100 degrees plus. Sometimes the pad temperatures, you get up to almost 2,000 degrees. You take a look at the calipers, well, you don't want them to get too hot because over 500 degrees, the O-rings start to melt. That can spell trouble. Along with your brake fluids, you want to try to keep it under 600 degrees. That's the reason why you see all the carbon fiber, all the air ducts trying to keep these brakes cool. If you want to be successful at Martinsville, keep them cool and keep your driver's foot off of them.
Thanks, Jeff. Let's update you on Sam Hornish, who was reported as being ill at the start of the race. He gained 11 positions during that green flag run. And when he made his pit stop, don't know if Sam needs relief. If he does, good thing he's still out there because there's no relief driver yet available. Nobody had really yet fallen out of the race to be able to come to his aid. Larry, let's have a look at some of the race off pit road here.
This is Tony Stewart in that 14 car. You can see Matt Kenseth just bouncing off Robbie Gordon in that 7. And I mean, this is the pit road is the same width in the corners it is on the front straightaway, but the problem is in that corner, it just almost like gets tighter and tighter right there. But you're right, Daryl. I don't think you could get to 30 miles an hour.
I don't see how you're going to be running into people. Kind of playing dodgeball, really. Because they're coming out from everywhere. You got cars in front of you, cars pulling out in front of you. And that only gets worse. Right now, everybody give and take a little bit because, like, just on the track, still got a long way to go. But wait till later.
One thing they have changed here at Martinsville for this race is you see the yellow line that marks pit out right here. Previously, you can see a dark shaded area where that line was right about here, parallel to the backstretch. What they've done is use the same radius as the corner for the outline, so that cars out here have to travel just as far and not further than Kevin Harvick does from the inside. So that's a good change to even things up and make that fair for everybody.
Exactly. A little bit of damage on the right rear of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88 car. Right now, he has cracked the top 5. He is in 5th. And Steve, one of the cars we've been watching was Denny Hamlin. He had a little bit of an issue on that stop.
Larry Mack just walked down into the pit stall. They dropped the jack during the pit stop, so he's lost a lot of positions.
You know, I think if you're going to have trouble, if that knee is going to bother him, it would be under caution in the pits. Trying to hold the clutch in and do his job might be a little problem for him.
Stremme the free pass. Quapple and Conway took the wave around. Max Pappas is back on track. And look at the difference. Hamlin stopped to Harvick.
Look at the difference on the left side right there, and I think that comes from what Steve was talking about, the way they dropped the jack.
Green flag, and we restart to begin lap 50.
I believe Mr. Harvick will have a little bit of competition now that everybody's caught up and made adjustments.
Wood Jr. slid up into Jamie Mack, down between 1 and 2 as things try to sort out. Double file restart. Lead lap cars up front.
Remember, that one car was the quickest car in practice on Saturday. Jamie Mack in the one car looking underneath of the 17, getting into one. I think he might have the position. He got him.
Kurt Busch gave Harvick quite a bump coming off turn number 2. And a lot of smoke from Scott Speed.
Oh, yeah.
He has stove in the front of his car, and it looks like punctured the radiator.
Yeah, and he cannot get to pit road because the entrance to pit road, he'll cut across and make it.
I see you, Jimmy.
The entrance is over in turn 3. A lot of damage to that 82 car.
That thing is torn all. I mean, the whole nose is ripped off of it.
Denny Hamlin, a big slide in turn 1, went way up the racetrack, gathered it in as we've got a battle for the lead.
I mean, look at that 24 car of Jeff Gordon. He looks like he's quite a bit faster than Kurt Busch. Tries to pull the inside. Kurt puts the block on him, but it won't work.
It's a mini block. That wasn't a serious block there. That was just a, well, let me see if he'll take it or not.
But now McMurray's going to try to take advantage of that door opening. Kurt does the same thing. McMurray tries the high side.
And Kurt gives Jeff Gordon a little bit of a bump as they get back to the gas for turn 4.
Better bump him now, because it's going to be a long time before you see him again. That's the guy that I just think, if there's somebody that you want to say, here's how you get around Martinsville, here's a model for you, just watch Jeff Gordon.
Now they're still double wide at 9th place. You'll see Junior coming into frame on the outside next to Jeff Burton and continuing to battle. Front 8 are single file, and now everybody drops in line. Burton won that skirmish with Earnhardt.
The 31 car, when the track was at its worst conditions in practice on Saturday, Jeff Burton, he seemed to be the best car on the long haul, but boy, they're doing some tight racing down in the corners with Kenseth.
Kenseth started 2nd. Now he's racing for 7th and gives up the spot to Burton. And here comes Junior on the inside.
I know Jeff Gordon is up there running in the 2nd position, but when we watched practice on Saturday, unlike we predicted with the 48 and the 24, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88, Darrell talked to him under the pace lap, seemed to have the best car of the Hendrick camp.
Right. Darrell, Matt Kenseth's in a bad spot. He can't get to the bottom. Junior went past him. Mark Martin's going to go by him on the inside, and there's just nowhere to get back to the bottom.
He could end up in 30th place at the rate he's going. But you know what I'm really impressed with? I know that Jeff Gordon is all over the back of Kevin Harvick right now, but I am really impressed with how that 29 started on the pole and how he's been able to sit there, and he's got a really, really good race car. I'm not saying he's going to be able to hold Jeff Gordon off, but he's got as good a car as I've seen him have here in quite a while, Steve.
And DW, interesting thing, Kevin Harvick on that first pit stop said he ran really hard because he wanted to give the team a good indication of what the race car had.
Well, we're going to get a chance to see how it is running in 2nd here, I think, in about a
now
lap.
he needs to see if he give Jeff Gordon an impression of how good a car he has.
Not 2nd, Larry, 3rd.
Yeah, that's what happens. You just get pushed up and opens the door.
In 2 weeks, Phoenix International Raceway. The Subway Fresh Fit 600K. You see that live on Fox.
Yeah, they stretched the laps out from 312 to 375. Darrell said the other day he thinks that's a good thing. Maybe that race was almost too short.
It was too short. I like it now. Plus, I like Phoenix.
Jeff Gordon, the new leader from Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick.
This just in, Jeff Gordon is leading the race.
Under caution for the 2nd time in Martinsville. David Stremme went around as he was trying to pass Mike Bliss. There was contact. Watch those 2 cars come into turn 3.
And Mike, that's classic Martinsville. One guy gets his nose just up to that left rear quarter panel, and then you got to decide, do I cut in or do I let him go?
One taker among the lead cars, and it is Tony Stewart. Now, Reagan's also in along with Montoya, Hamlin, Newman, Sadler, Biffle, Kyle Busch, and more.
I like this. Get off sync with everybody else. And if it plays out for you, it'll be good. Matt.
DW, Stewart said the car much tighter on that run. They didn't want to take a chance of really having the car fall off. They know they're going to lose a lot of track position, but they made some significant changes. He said you're going to have to make a big change on this run or we could be in trouble.
That's experience, man. That's knowing what you got to have at this point of the race and knowing you're not right. Get it right now.
Yeah, but to Darrell's point, what these guys hope is we maybe go 15 or 20 laps and get another caution. They will stay out and get that track position that they've lost in the early part of the race.
All right, let's get downstairs to the Hollywood Hotel for an AT&T race break.
Thanks, Mike. And Kevin Harvick dominating, leading 57 of the first 58 laps on a track that he's never scored a top 5 on. As we're getting ready to go here, I guess we have another lap or two. I want to get your thoughts on the out-of-sequence pit stops we just saw moments ago.
Well, I think Larry and Darrell kind of summed it all up. I think Darrell was accurate by saying, you know, you're getting off sequence and getting your car worked on when it's not right. You need to do this now because you don't have to be working on it later on. And Larry talks about, yeah, if caution falls the right way, it's going to give these guys a distinct advantage. But I think the fact we got a new tire here that we saw in the Camping World Truck Series on Saturday, that they wear pretty heavy. So we're going to see a lot of drop-off today. So fresher tires are going to be real important. I think these guys right now may have an advantage over the leaders.
And Kurt Busch, who came in leading the most laps of anybody so far this year, looks like that two-team has some momentum going.
They definitely do. You know, they won Atlanta. They had a chance to win at Bristol, and here they find themselves today running in second place. And Kurt doesn't run that well here at Martinsville. If there's a track on the circuit he's been struggling at, here at Martinsville he's having a great day right now.
Jeff Gordon, who's won here 7 times, currently the leader. If you want to cast your vote for the AT&T fastest pit crew of the year, you can do it every week from your AT&T phone. Text the car number for the pit crew you think is the best to 2258. Delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Now, one thing that is different than what we've seen in past years here with the double file restart. You just think about it. The leader was getting the green flag over here at the start-finish line. You could still be on the back straightaway if you were back there where Tony Stewart is. Now, you've cut that distance in half. You're around here with everybody else, so I like that on these short tracks.
So instead of starting 22nd in line, Stewart will start on the outside of row 11 for this restart.
That's a big help.
So Tony Stewart goes from 7th to 22nd, but has adjustments and tires. Behind him of the cars that pitted, Ryan Newman, Elliott Sadler, David Reagan, Montoya, Hamlin, Biffle, Rudeman, Kyle Busch, Robbie Gordon, Labonte, Regan Smith, Quapple, Bliss, Conway, and Keselowski. So they all have fresh tires. As we're ready to go, Jeff Gordon has been out in front for 11 of the 69 laps so far. Kevin Harvick led the first 57, and David Gilliland led 1.
But you know, I think Darrell touched on it. Pretty impressed with that 2 car because he deemed this as one of his most difficult racetracks, and there was a lot of anticipation after he lost that race in Bristol last week.
Green flag, and nobody's going to beat Jeff Gordon to turn 1.
And rightfully so. That's the rule. The guy that's the #1 guy, he gets to start-finish line first. If you beat him to the line, you get black flag.
Now it's going to be up to Kurt Busch. Does he try to make a hole to get to the bottom, or does he try to go for it all?
I believe he'll fall down in front of that 29 car and behind that 24 car. Try to keep turning that thing down just like he did right there, but he can't quite get there. Here comes Harvick back on the inside.
That broke the 2's momentum. He had to get out of the gas a little bit, and here comes Harvick. But right now, that 2 is wanting that. He wants a piece of that 24.
Gordon, Busch, Harvick. How about a little Monday Martinsville crank it up?
Yippee!
Turn 2, Boyer out of shape, and he hangs on to it as he was racing side by side. But behind them, the 00 of Rudeman goes around. They were 3 wide in the corner, and that will put us under caution.
Mike, I'm not so sure that that wasn't a product of all that banging up there in front. It kind of chain reacted back. And Rudeman stuck on the curb.
The grass is so wet from last night's rain, and those tires are so slick, I don't think he's going to be able to power out of there. Now first, let's look at what happened to Dale Jr. and Clint Boyer.
And this really is what starts this whole mess, because they get together. And when somebody behind you starts to see Mark Martin and Logano, it just backs up till somebody gets spun out. That somebody was David Rudeman in the 00.
Kenseth comes in with apparently a little bit of damage from that.
Yeah, he was running in the 12th spot, and we're not going to see a lot of people pit on this caution here because pretty much everyone has been to pit road in the last few laps.
All right, the wreckers have gone to Rudeman's aid. Actually, they're just going to push him off the grass. Here's Matt.
Kenseth, Mike, says if anything, it's worse, meaning more and more tight, just past center. He just needs to turn better. They've already completed the chassis adjustment. Left sides are on, and he's away.
Thanks, Matt. Scott Speed gets the free pass. And if you look at the blade on the back of Kenseth's car, it's the first race appearance of NASCAR's new rear spoiler. More on that after this.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Nationwide Insurance, is sponsored by Budweiser, the beer that starts with full flavor that ends with a crisp, clean finish. Budweiser, it's what we do.
You saw a load of 1966 Pontiacs on the backstretch on the train headed for market, and you saw Junior Johnson among the race leaders. Cale Yarborough in the Wood Brothers Ford, David Pearson's Torino right behind it, Buddy Baker on the outside in a Charger. Those were the days here at Martinsville Speedway.
Real cars and real men.
Here's our nationwide race summary. Jeff Gordon's our leader, the first of 36 cars on the lead lap. 3 leaders, 3 lead changes, and 3 cautions for 18 laps. As we get the 1 to go sign and they line back up double file, Jeff Gordon. Again, Kurt Busch on his outside. Harvick and McMurray, Johnson and Burton, Edwards and Earnhardt, Boyer, who stayed out, and Martin, the top 10.
And I'm not sure that those guys that drove those cars could compete today, and I'm not sure that these guys that drive these cars could have competed then. Just difference in time.
There's a lot of different philosophies about that, but I tend to agree with what you just said.
Yes, sir.
Ready for the restart. Busch edging out ahead. Remember, it's Gordon who starts the race regardless of which lane he's in. He is the leader, and that was pretty close right there.
That was real close.
Yes, it was. I think he did that on purpose to Mr. Busch that time in the 2 car.
That's an easy way to get rid of your competition.
I'm going to tell you what, watch Kurt Packer down into turn 3. He's been doing it every time because he got a great run off turn 2. I'm not so sure this might work out for that 2 car.
Well, you know, we saw him from the start of the race there. He liked that outside line. He worked it right on to perfection on the first of the race there.
Kurt Busch gets 5 points for leading that lap. And they're still dead even. And NASCAR has called down to the 24 pit to remind them to maintain a constant speed and accelerate. None of this on and off the gas.
A lot of that same thing happened at Bristol last week when Biffle brought them down and sort of did one of those Texas restarts.
There's the referee talking to the head coach right there. NASCAR official talking to Steve Letarte about that restart the last time by Jeff Gordon.
No penalty, just a suggestion. Bring him down smooth for the restart. 4th place is the battle. There's Jimmy Johnson underneath Jamie Mack, and Jeff Burton ready to pounce Carl Edwards. Here's Dick.
Well, Jamie McMurray started in the 15th position, has worked his way to the 4th position. He's driving a brand new race car today that during practice they got so well handling-wise that in preparation for the race today, all they did was tighten up the nuts and bolts. Matt Yoakum.
Jeff Burton at 31, hunkered down in the bottom groove there. Burton says the car on the tight side, it was rotating pretty well early on. They made an air pressure change in the right front to help that. He feels like, though, this car is going to be very solid over a long run.
Well, we can tell that we're getting in typical Martinsville form here. I mean, about 2 laps ago down in 3 and 4, it kind of all started getting down into turn 3. Let's take a look at it here.
And it's not over yet.
Watch the 47 car and the 98 car Menard. Montoya's on the outside. It shoots the 47 of Ambrose up the hill, and they keep beating and banging, but the guy that really paid the price was Montoya, who gets kicked all the way back to 19th.
And Larry, I was totally confused. I thought you said Martinsville form, and I said, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? And I looked up there, and the 48 car is coming in a hurry.
That too.
They have had a couple of shots at it, and it looks pretty good now.
That's just the kind of casual contact that this place has been famous for 60 years.
Unavoidable.
It's not going to change.
That's the difference. Avoidable, unavoidable.
Now here coming into play on the outside is Menard, and on the inside is Montoya. That battle continues, and Juan prevails. Probably none too happy about getting moved up and out of the groove 4 laps ago.
Well, we heard that the car was running a little hot, that the temperature was going out the roof. I believe that's from the cockpit.
Yeah, I think the engine's run a little warm, and the driver is too.
Inside Newman, here comes Montoya. Boy, he drove it in deep.
And he slid up the hill a little bit, but he will complete the pass.
You know, just to tell you the truth, not a lot of people mess with Montoya.
Rightly so.
Now, just in front of that battle is Sam Hornish, who gained in the 77, gained 11 spots early in the race. Now, Eric Almirola is out of the race. He's standing by in case Hornish needs relief. Krista?
Well, Mike, the irony is Sam's best finish at this track was 28th coming in. So what was missing? Apparently food poisoning. That's what he thought he had this morning. He said he feels good in the race car. The only thing, his legs are a little weak. But a good finish certainly heals you up really well. He's already up to his best career finish should he stay there.
Well, we know it's not the Martinsville hot dogs. No. If that's the case, Richard Childress' tire man would be absolutely on the ground done.
No, I tell you what the deal is. Roger Penske was down in St. Petersburg, pretty sure watching the IndyCar race, which, by the way, Will Power won, and he's the first guy to win the first 2 races since of the season, since Hornish did it back in '01. But I got a feeling when they said Raj is on his way to Martinsville, old Sam got the feeling a lot better.
Plus, he has a pretty good race car.
Yeah, he does. That'll get you up on the wheel. Looking back from Casey Kane, there is Hornish, who was pretty good in practice here early in the weekend. He's currently 15th.
Put up a fight, though, against that 42 car. I think, I know Dick Berkman was telling us a little while ago that all the issues the 42 car is having, but I think he's got a pretty good race car. I think Brian Patty knows those guys adjusted on it. And Dick, it's definitely looking better than it was in the beginning of the race.
Well, it kind of has to, and it's a bit of a surprise he's running this poorly because he was so good in practice. We had 3 practice sessions, and the worst Montoya went in any of them was 6th place. But a few moments ago, Larry, he said that the temperature in the engine is now up to 265 degrees, and that's getting pretty close to where you really start worrying about whether it's going to make it to the end.
Well, with these systems these cars have on today, the big old radiators and the sealed system that they run, you can get about 265 or 270 and you'll be okay. And these 2 guys here are getting ready to pounce on each other. That 29 looks really good today.
Well, they've got 400 laps to figure it out here. Steve?
Mike, Kurt Busch says his car is just a little bit loose. Crew Chief Steve Addington urging him to turn off his right front feed blower to help that condition.
Well, there's no, Kurt Busch is no slouch here at Martinsville. We know that. But with Addington on the pit box, making adjustments to that car, this is a good run for the 2 car.
Kurt has won here only once in October of 2002, and since then he's only had 2 Martinsville top 10s.
But that's interesting. It's one of the few things that a driver can adjust during a run. He has the brake bias, but they have blowers on all 4 tires. And they have them on separate switches, so if the thing's a little bit loose, cut that blower off. It'll let the air pressure build up in the right front, tighten the car up. But the thing I would be worried about, Jeff Hammond talked about the brakes a little while ago. That's what can be the real detriment of brake heat is failing the tire, cooking the bead, which we see every time here.
Let's look back at the drivers who pitted on lap 66. Most of the field, the whole field was in at lap 44. But a bunch came in at lap 66, and of those, Montoya's up to 13th. Ryan Newman's up to 15th. Kyle Busch to 19th. And Tony Stewart was the first of those to pit, but now he's stuck at 21st.
And Mike, he just radioed into Darian Grubb 2 laps ago. We have got to do something and do something big on the next stop because the car is getting worse, meaning it is really bad on the tight side. So they're already planning ahead of how big of a swing and what area on this car setup-wise they're going to have to change quickly.
And Larry, I think that's a car that the track is going through changes. That car was fast when we started this race under those conditions, but they don't have it right for the track getting the rubber on it. You can see it starting to black up some. They got to make some adjustments there for the conditions.
Yeah, the concrete surfaces here in the corners, it's going to start blackening them up. It's going to take a lot of rubber, and in about lap 300 or 350, it's going to go through another transition. The rubber will actually start stacking up and almost form like rumble strips.
Watch what happens here. Marcus Ambrose gets underneath Sam Hornish.
Yeah, bam.
Gave Marcus enough room, but up he went. Kyle Busch jumped underneath, and that cost Sam about 4 positions by the time Tony Stewart also got past him.
Marcos has made a few people angry.
Yep. 4th place, here comes Jeff Burton. Underneath Jimmy Johnson, battle of 2 Chevrolets. And how do these cars look with the lengthened rear quarter panels down toward the ground, pants on the ground if you will, and that blade, that rear spoiler up in the air? The wing is gone.
Boy, I don't know what happened to the 29, but he's off the pace, guys.
Yeah, he's lost several spots.
No, there's something wrong. He may have a right front tire flat. Can't tell. There's something going on.
He's coming. He's dropped to 6th.
Yeah, he just fell off the pace all at once, and that right front tire is roughed up. What do they say, Burns?
DW, he thinks it's a brake problem. In fact, Harvick just said, I'm not even coming to pit road. I'm coming right behind the wall. So 29 is headed to the garage.
Oh, my.
And remember, he's our points leader. He only had a 1-point lead, but he was our points leader coming in here. So this will be huge for that 29 group.
Saturday, a winner in the Camping World Truck Series had by far the best truck.
Like the fluid's leaking from somewhere.
A little contact with his teammate Jeff Burton there.
He's already off the pace there. He was slow going into 3. And I just heard him say something about fluid, brake fluid. They got a line loose or a fitting broke or something.
Carl and Richard Childress, and they did take the 29 to the garage area to their garage stall.
108 laps complete in the Goodies Pain Relief 500. With 116 laps complete, Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Fastest lap of the day, 20.07, Jeff Gordon. And with Kevin Harvick under repair in the garage, Jimmy Johnson would move into the point lead, 53 up on Matt Kenseth. For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed.
Talking about Harvick, you know, it's too early to have brake trouble, like you wore them out or it's had to break something break in the brakes. Got a bad brake.
And I think he knew that. I think that's why he didn't even come to pit road. He just went straight to the garage area.
Gordon with a 1.8 second lead on Kurt Busch. Jeff Burton is 2.5 back. Jimmy Johnson 3 seconds off the lead. Mark Martin 3.5. Carl Edwards 4.5. But where everybody's making some noise is right around Jamie Mack. Brian Vickers in front of him and Montoya right behind him. And Juan has been putting the pressure on. He went and passed Joey Logano on the outside as Logano battles his teammate Kyle Busch. This is a racy little pack here.
But I want to bring up something that Jeff Hammond pointed out. If you think about it, all of our top 10, they have not been to pit road since lap 44. Montoya was one of those groups that Brian Patty brought to pit road at lap 66. I think that's where the fresher tires prevail getting into this long run like this.
Well, and the other thing, Larry, is people just don't mess with Montoya. And we saw it in practice on Saturday. Guys would get in his way, and he didn't wait on them. He'd knock the fire out of them. They'd get out of his way, and they're doing the same thing today.
And just ahead of him, Krista, how about 9th place Brian Vickers?
Yeah, Mike, Brian Vickers definitely one to watch. They were very good here in both races last year, but had trouble. Talked to Ryan Pemberton. He said they should be a top 10 car all day. He just now creeped into the top 10 up to 9th, but that is where they probably should run and looking to have a good finish. Brian Vickers very strong.
And you know, Mike, but before Kevin Harvick had his problem, you mentioned the fact about this is the first race for the conventional rear spoiler. I talked to Jeff Burton. He was on our trackside show. Jeff Burton seems to think that this spoiler is going to be a game changer as we see the repair work on that 29 car in the garage area. And you know what? When I watched that 83 car out of the Charlotte test the other day, they were so happy with their test. They actually loaded up early. I don't think it's going to take the Hendrick group and put them at the bottom of the pile, but definitely some teams could adapt to this conventional rear spoiler a lot better than they did to wing.
You know, Larry, I hear y'all talking about that. I don't see it. Because NASCAR has worked so hard. The reason they didn't implement the spoiler earlier was they wanted to get in the wind tunnel, and they wanted to match numbers from the wing to the spoiler. That's where the shark fin came from. So I really don't think it's going to make that big a difference. We got to get to a big racetrack to find out. But
Texas, I think, will be our first real benchmark.
Couple of drivers on the move. Kyle Busch is up. Oh, Montoya hit the wall hard. We stay green.
No caution yet.
Boys.
He has destroyed the right front of that car.
Went to the garage. Something broke.
Yeah, it looks like something broke.
The right front wheel's pointed straight out, Brian.
Some of that extracurricular activity with that right front may have strained something in there.
Now, just prior to this, Kyle Busch moved up into the top 10, and he had to pass his teammate Joey Logano and Montoya and McMurray to do it.
You can see that the 42, the right front tire wheel, and it looks like it blew a tire to me. Looks like the tire blew and the thing just shot in the wall, and that's where all the damage came from. Watch the car fall as he comes into the picture here. There he is. The car just falls down like it blew a right front tire.
He was in 12th place. Now, we mentioned Kyle Busch moving up into the top 10. Mark Martin has moved up into the top 5. There's a look at Kyle, who now has about half a second to go to catch Brian Vickers. And Vickers and Jr. were racing side by side, and that will draw Kyle Busch to him.
Another one. And you know what it is? I think it's beads. I think the 42 blew a bead from, they're driving hard. He was particularly, got too much heat in that right front and blew the bead out in the tire.
This time it's Robbie Gordon, who goes into the wall at turn 4 and puts us under caution for the 4th time today. David Gilliland will be the car receiving the free pass as Gordon limps in for repair.
You just run so much camber here that it's really hard on the right front and then all the brake heat.
Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, and Jeff Burton had worked his way up into 3rd place. Mark Martin is 4th, and here comes Jimmy Johnson in front of Kristen.
Chad Knaus told his driver stop a little bit short. Jimmy calling for more of the same change they made back on lap 42. His car getting tight. Dick?
Jeff Gordon has an easy out. Joe Nemechek out of the race, was in front of him. He's worried a little bit about the brakes. Wanted to be sure he had all the ducts open. Matt?
Easy entry for Jeff Burton. There's an open stall right behind the opening. He says the car is good. Doesn't want any changes, just riding, Steve.
Matt, they've been conservative on changes on the 2 car, waiting for the track to rubber up more. Kurt Busch saying his car is just a little bit loose, but it's turning really well. Air pressure adjustment for Kurt Busch.
Jeff Gordon leads them off pit road. Kurt Busch and Jeff Burton. Then Mark Martin, Carl Edwards, and Jimmy Johnson.
And I think pit selection hurt that 48 car because those guys were finished with their pit stop and cars were still coming down pit road trying to find their pit stop.
It's hurting him now, Larry, but it'll pay off before the day's over, I bet you.
From Jeff Gordon, let's have a look at Robbie Gordon's trouble that have put us under caution flag number 4. Ready for the restart. Again, Jeff Gordon against Kurt Busch. Jeff Burton now with Mark Martin in row 2. Carl Edwards up to 5th, the best he's been all day. Jimmy Johnson 6th. Clint Boyer, Dale Jr., Brian Vickers, and Kyle Busch are the top 10. Nice even restart. We're back under green.
Now that's the way it's supposed to be right there.
Just remember, though, NASCAR had won the 24 team after that last restart.
Kurt Busch had one good chance to get the lead, and that was it.
Better be careful. That 31 will be by him because Burton's pretty good right now, and so is Mark Martin in the 5. Those first 5 or 6 cars there are all pretty equal.
Yeah, Mark Martin in that 5 started back in the 16th position. He's just been steadily making his way to the front, up into the top 5 now.
Pole sitter Kevin Harvick still in the garage. They had trouble getting the right rear brake caliper off to replace it. And Montoya, after that crash in turn 4, his car behind the wall also. Dale Jr. and Joey Logano on the inside trying to move up. There's a bit of a log jam there with McMurray and Kyle Busch. Good fight here for 9th place.
Seems like that one car is pretty good for about 15-20 laps. Then he starts to fade a little bit.
I tell you, a car I believe they've made better is that 18 car of Kyle Busch. Remember, he was fighting everything you could fight earlier in the race, and now here he's cracked the top 10 working on Dale Jr. for the 9th.
Kurt Busch keeps it close for the lead as Junior gets past Kyle Busch, and Kyle comes right back. Kevin Harvick returns to the race. He's lost many laps, and for the lead, Kurt Busch on the inside. Gordon pulls him down the straightaway, but Busch is there.
Yeah, I think Jeff will let him go. He should. Don't want to take a chance right at this point.
But look at Jeff Burton in that 31 car. He's fighting and clawing, trying to hook to the rear bumper of that 2, where when Kurt opens the door, Burton can fill him.
And Jeff Gordon will have no choice but to let Burton go as well.
Yeah, once you get a...
Leader the 2, lost someone.
Well, he's going to get in there.
No, Jeff tried to fake him out, but it didn't work.
Looks like Jeff Burton's going to take the 2nd spot away. Kind of a home game for Jeff Burton.
It's in the cat car. That's not Kentucky either.
So Kurt Busch, your leader. Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and Clint Boyer, the front 5 at 141 laps.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Amp Energy. Go to ampupthe88.com this Wednesday, March 31st, to chat with a member of the Hendrick Motorsports team. By Aflac. Aflac is insurance for daily living. Get to know Quack at noquack.com. And by AT&T, a better 3G experience.
Brian Vickers dropping back. Casey Kane passes him. Vickers and Dale Jr. just had quite a battle here for 8th place.
Once again, down on that inside, the guy on the inside can just about, 8 tires, short track rule. 8 tires are better than 4.
They definitely worked out better for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You know what they always told me on short tracks? If the right side of your car is torn up, you're racing. If the left side of your car is torn up, you're in the way.
But I'm telling you, the biggest fear about that, the beating and the banging like that, is cutting one of those tires down. Yep. But I'm going to tell you what, Jeff Burton in that 31 car, we talked about him earlier, he wants the lead from Kurt Busch.
Man, he backed it in there that time. He's trying really hard, Burton is, just to get the lead. Of course, when your car is good and you think you're better than a guy in front of you, you need to get around him as soon as possible.
While your car is still good.
While your car is good.
Sure. Jeff Burton won the first of his 27 Nationwide Series victories right here in 1990. And he was a Sprint Cup winner here in September of '97.
The amazing thing, he was actually driving in that Nationwide race for Sam Ard, longtime winning Nationwide Series driver. Our points leader, Kevin Harvick, is back out on the racetrack. 38th position, 34 laps down, but you got to get back out there, gain every spot you can.
Jimmy Johnson just had a big wiggle coming off the corner, Krista.
Yeah, and after that last stop, a little bit of a conversation between Jimmy Johnson and crew chief Chad Knaus. It was a good stop, but they got boxed in a little bit with that pit stall, and here's what they had to say to each other.
Hey, Earl, let's scoot my marks back just a touch. I feel like I can get over the pit road speed before you tell me to check out.
Negative, do not. I repeat, do not do that. That is impossible to do.
Well, I'm in second gear on like 4 or 5 reds when I get there. It seems like I'm entering into the next area.
It's fine, but continue to get everything you can leaving. You cannot, I repeat, not get caught in this timing zone.
I am not worried about the timing zone you're thinking of. I'm worried about entering the next timing zone 400 RPM too fast and not giving enough back.
Obviously, a little bit of controversy. Jimmy trying to say he could make up time. Chad saying, don't you dare do it with the throttle. Do not get caught speeding on pit road.
Well, speed is a function of time and distance, and they don't measure your speed in any instant like a radar gun does measure you on the highway. They measure the time it takes to travel in through each of those zones, so you can enter faster, and as long as you slow down below the limit, you can avoid getting stopped for speeding. That's what Jimmy's trying to do.
But why is Chad Knaus in the pit he's in? Because you can't get caught speeding in this timing zone.
Jeff Burton from South Boston, Virginia, has come to the front at his home track, and he has Richard Childress' number 31 in the wind.
You're watching.
Welcome back to Martinsville, Virginia. Watching the 31 of Jeff Burton lead this race from our aerial coverage, brought to you by DirecTV. Learn how to win $1 million. Go to directv.com/NASCAR. 161 laps complete as Jeff Burton works lap traffic. He extends his lead over Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Kurt Busch, and Jimmy Johnson. We still have 29 cars running on the lead lap. Let's get downstairs for our DirecTV head-to-head knockout pit reports, beginning with Steve Burns.
Mike, on lap 66, Denny Hamlin came to pit road, and Greg Biffle spins on the racetrack, bringing out a caution.
Sorry, Steve. Yellow is out.
That was courtesy of the 47 car. Marcos Ambrose just spun the 16 around. I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but that's what happened. No, I'm not sure at all.
Let's see how sure you are right here.
I'm not sure at all. One was coming in and one was going out.
Yeah, that could be blamed both directions.
I'd
right
say
there.
It's a little bit of both.
Well, when contact was made, it looked to me as if Marcus's left front was right against the curb. He couldn't get any lower.
And that's the problem here. You know, if you're down the bottom and a guy on the outside turns in, he's got to make the corner. Turns in a little too much, contact, around you go.
Pit road is going to be a busy place now. Mark Martin and Kurt Busch stay out behind the pace car. And here come most of the rest of the leaders. Krista?
Jimmy Johnson saying the car is kind of turning better, but not exactly where he needs it. Needs it better center off. Dick?
Jeff Gordon has gotten loose off the corners. His crew chief, Steve Letarte, told him to pit. He was looking at the radar. They're thinking this might not go all the way, Matt.
The 97 winner here at Martinsville with Jeff Burton. No changes, just like the previous time. So the car is rolling well. He's pleased. Steve?
Matt, there was a lot of confusion in the two camp. Kurt Busch wanted to stop. They didn't give him an absolute confirmation to come to pit road. He's talking to Steve Addington right now. Kurt Busch is very angry. Big miscommunication in this two-team.
Well, if he pits now, Steve, he's going to drop from 4th. He's going to drop like a rock down to about 30th.
If he doesn't pit now, he's going to drop like a rock back to 30th. So he's in a box.
Well, and you know what? Unlike most of the racetracks we go to, you have all the way to turn 4 to communicate and make that decision. The way the entrance is here, it happens in a hurry. You know, I think a long run would burn these guys, but it's only been 28 laps since we had that last pit stop for everyone.
I believe it. The signal is everybody's pitting.
Now, in front of Kurt, only Mark Martin stayed out.
That's what confused him, really.
So those two cars, and Brad Keselowski stays out. So that will move Brad way up the running order. And let's go back to Steve and our DirecTV head-to-head knockout pit whip.
Hey, Mike, when the caution came out, was saying Denny Hamlin came in on lap 66. They had a problem on pit road with the jack. He went from 9th back to 29th. He also has experienced a vibration, but it seems to have disappeared. Hamlin has battled his way back into the top 10, Matt.
Steve, Mark Martin stayed out, so the car was just coming in. It was turning so well, didn't want to take a chance on making an adjustment and start to lose the handle. When Harvick's brake issues surfaced, it jumped right on Mark Martin's radar, Dick Berger, and he said he was going to ride and take it a little easier on his brake package.
Clint Boyer started this race in the 12th position, had worked himself up to 5th on that last round of pit stops. He came out in the 9th spot. The car has been quite good. This is not Boyer's best track. He has never led a lap here. Krista?
Well, Casey Kane, definitely one of the drivers who was not happy that qualifying got washed out because he is 23rd in the points. He has had to fight his way up through traffic. His car has been tight on that last run. He said it kind of got loose off. Nothing has helped our center so far.
Thanks, folks. To learn more about head-to-head knockout, visit directv.com/NASCAR. Now, Jeff Burton picked up a little sheet metal damage on this pit exchange.
Yeah, he's pitting right at the beginning of the curb here. It was a 4-tire stop, and this is where it starts to narrow down. You see Newman in the 39 trying to cut across that corner and right into Burton.
Had a crew chief tell me they took a car to the wind tunnel after a short track race to show the driver what happens to the car when you bang the front fenders in.
Matt?
And as Burton was swerving back and forth, his spotter, Rocky Ryan, said, "You can see the crease. I don't see any smoke. We should be fine."
Jeff had to swing out wide to clear, who was it? Joey Logano pitted just in front of him, and there's the damage to Newman's car. Brad Keselowski, I think, might have made the move of the first half of the race, because before this caution flag came out, the number 12 was 27th. He's going to restart third.
Well, I know it's not Bristol, but remember, Jay Fry, his crew chief, they did the same thing at the Bristol race last year or last week, and it worked out pretty good for him.
Looks like if Mark Martin made that decision, it's not a bad decision.
Green flag, and Mark Martin brings him down. And this, we'll see if this accidental strategy for Kurt Busch works out well. He's got his teammate right behind him as a wingman, Keselowski.
Well, and it sounds like that Mark Martin and Alan Gustafson, they never debated it. You know, and it's not about necessarily the balance of the car that goes away. It's just overall grip when you get laps on your tires.
Well, they had a deal at the end of Bristol. Would it be 2 tires or 4? And our pit reporters heard some questioning back and forth on the strategy. Yet after the race, they said the decision was made in unison. So
trouble turn 4.
Big trouble. As around goes Elliott Sadler in that petty blue number 19. And he's got lots of company up there.
No caution yet. I would say it depends on if Elliott can get going. And it doesn't look like he's going to get going in the field. There's the caution.
Got a yellow.
A lot of damage to David Stremme. Sadler spins it around. But I believe that's going to cost him that lap right there.
Yeah, that's what he was trying to do, is trying to get going, but it's not going to work out.
And the problem, even though right this instant he's the first car 1 lap down, since he's the car that brought out the caution, he can't get the free pass.
This gets all bottled up here going into 3. People start running over each other.
It looks like his teammate Paul Menard in the 98 got in the back of Elliott Sadler.
That's where the majority of the contact is. Stremme gets wrecked.
Boy, and Stremme's got a whole, look at that steam water coming out of Stremme's car. He busted the radiator right there on the 26.
And A.J. Allmendinger, another Richard Petty Motorsports Ford, may have ended up with the worst of it here.
Now you may ask, okay, this is a caution. Will Kurt Busch come to pit road now? Absolutely not. They made their bed and they laid in it, because what you got to remember, we've got 29 cars on the lead lap.
That will become 30 with David Rudiman, who receives the free pass. We are just past 1/3 distance here at Martinsville Speedway. The dominant cars have been Kevin Harvick, who's now 34 laps down with brake trouble. Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton are the cars with damage from this one. They're going to have to clean up some of that fluid from David Stremme's radiator. So we'll take a break and another look at how Elliott Sadler got away from the front of the field here as caution comes out for the 6th time.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Nationwide Insurance, is sponsored by Napa. Napa know-how. By FedEx, we understand you need reliable shipping options. FedEx. And by KFC. Get a grip on the new KFC boneless filet. NASCAR on Fox. We're live here in Martinsville, Virginia. 175 laps in under caution with Mark Martin, your leader after the rain out yesterday. Quick recap. This AT&T race break. Of course, the day started. Kevin Harvick, the pole sitter, the points leader. We're going to see a points lead change after this, the 6th race. He dominated early, leading 57 of the first 58 laps. Dale Earnhardt Jr. running in the top 10 like this car, but so much of the tight pit road here a factor, leaving some damage on Jr., affecting his racing overall here. Jeff Gordon takes the lead on lap 59. Jeff Gordon ended up leading some 79 laps in this race. And lap 106, Kevin Harvick, Jeff, with some problems here, brake problems behind the wall for a moment.
Yeah, you see Gil Martin very disgusted right there. The 29 car had a right rear caliper problem, had to change it.
And then Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, he loses the right front tire, hits the outside safer barrier, and he's still behind the wall making repairs to that 42 car.
And Mark Martin, who is currently the leader here on his 10th lap. 6 leaders, 10 different lead changes, and again under our 5th caution with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, the AT&T race break from the Hollywood Hotel in Martinsville, Virginia. So far, so good with the weather. Well, Martin with Kurt Busch right behind him. Let's talk about a few other guys. I know Matt Kenseth made up almost a dozen spots on a recent pit stop. Started second, was as far back as 34th. He's worked his way into the top 10.
Yeah, it looks to me like Todd Parrott's done a good job making some adjustments to 17 car, because a lot of times, again, Martinsville's not one of the best places for Matt. If he can get going here, he still has an opportunity to go up there and take this point lead away from Jimmy Johnson.
I know Denny Hamlin worried about the surgery. Goody's Fast Relief might help there. This is Goody's Fast Relief 500, the Virginia native. Of course, pit road, an issue for some people.
Yeah, he had a problem early during the course of the race. Had a problem with the jack on pit road, fell all the way back into about the 35th position, but has battled his way back to 9th. I mean, he clearly has one of the fastest race cars here, and he has won here, so you know he knows what it takes to get to Martinsville victory lane.
And when Harvick was leading earlier, Tony Stewart looked really good. He was running second. That's the highest he's been. I just noticed he went back on pit road. He's back out now trying to work his way up.
Well, I think we're seeing Tony's situation because of the fact we talked about track conditions early on. The racetrack was one way when they dropped the green flag, and Larry McReynolds has talked about it several times. This racetrack will go through several more changes before we get to the end of 500 laps. So Tony and the rest of the 14 crew, they're working to try to make some of the adjustments necessary to get him back competitive.
Greg Biff will try to do the same thing up to 21 at this point. Text your opinion on who you think will win the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award along with Jeff. Your vote does count. You can text it to AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Getting set for the restart now. Mark Martin, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski to restart third. And quite a bit of fluid was dropped by David Stremme coming down the front straightaway. The sweepers have done a pretty good job of getting that up as we get ready for a double file restart.
You know, one guy that Tony Stewart keeps coming in working on his car. I think they're just anticipating getting the car right for the end of the race. That's why they're coming in so much right now. But he's all the way back in, yikes, 24th.
We went from bright sun at the start to what is becoming a pretty heavy overcast now.
And that'll just help the track gain some grip.
Yeah.
You know, it was awfully slick when this race started because the sun was beaming down on it, but I'd say it could cure a lot of handling problems with it cooling down.
Pace car drops in, and it's Mark Martin to lead them down against Kurt Busch. 27 cars on the lead lap. 180 laps complete this time. We're back in the green.
Man, Kurt had to really, that was so close. He actually hit the brake before they got to the line because he was going to be ahead of that 5 car.
Well, he's going to be ahead of him now because he really got a run off turn 2, but you're right. That was about as borderline as you can cut it on a restart.
New third place car, Ryan Newman, who was strong in pre-qualifying practice, but with time trials rained out, Newman had to start 26th. Keselowski under pressure from Jeff Burton, 4th place. And Burton takes the spot, muscles his way underneath in turn 3.
Just remember, Brad Keselowski's one of those cars like Mark Martin and Kurt Busch. They have about 28 more laps on their tires. His crew chief is actually Jay Guy, not Jay Fry, who's the general manager for Red Bull Racing.
Kyle Busch under Jeff Gordon entering the corner. And they're going to keep it side by side, 2 rows deep, 4 cars under a blanket. That battles for 8th place.
Well, you just don't know how good your car is until you can get it up here in the front with some of the better cars. You get back in the pack here, you're just going to get the thing beat up. That's all you're going to end up doing back there.
There you go, man. No pressure. Good job.
Jeff Gordon locks the left front, getting into the corner.
Well, you know, watch that 2 car going around here. We're looking at Dale Jr.'s car. It looks pretty clean right now, but watching that 2 car go around here, you know Steve Addington has got to be a pretty happy camper right now. He goes over to this 2-car. Here they are leading the race, a lot like he and Kyle Busch did last year. He has turned that thing around, man.
Yeah, just think about it. They won Atlanta. They dominated Bristol, finished third, and here they are leading this race as we're approaching lap 200.
And Kurt knows he's good at Bristol. That's one of his favorite tracks. Here he knows he's struggled, so just shows you what just a little tweak will do. Mark Martin looking back underneath of him here.
Right behind the leaders, Jimmy Johnson takes over 5th from Keselowski, and Denny Hamlin scoots by.
Yeah, again, you've got to have a pretty good working race car like I think Kurt Busch and Mark Martin that they actually have to make it work on being against cars that have a lot fresher tires. I think that's the problem Keselowski's faced with right now.
Hey, Matt, what are they doing to that 14 car every time they come in?
DW, his day just continues to take a turn for the worse. The past 2 stops, they've either made a spring, they push a spring rubber in the right rear. On the last stop before that, they made a shock packer change. The last time in, he basically said, we have got to come and do something big because we are really losing it. At one point, DW, he said, can we move the rear end housing around? And he was doing it as he drove by right from his pit, and he could see Darian Grubb shake his head. He goes, I see from your expression, that's a no.
We've got a new leader. Mark Martin in that 5 car just drove by Kurt Busch, and here comes Ryan Newman in that 39 car.
Well, those first 2 cars, the 5 and the 2, they don't have very good tires. So they may be setting ducks here before long.
And look at Newman in the 39, and Burton sees he's trying to open the door. He wants to take advantage of it, and here comes Hamlin as well.
Newman a couple laps ago went into turn 1 and had to slam the brake on so hard he almost spun the car, trying to stay off of Kurt Busch. But now Busch has to give him room.
Look at that 48 car up on the outside.
And they're lining up behind him. Burton trying to figure out which lane to go, and Hamlin coming.
You know what all those guys in front of the 48 are saying? Where's the 48?
Well, he's there, boys.
He is right there. Hamlin, now Kyle Busch comes into play, and Dale Jr. What a dogfight this is going to be.
Yes, sir. Pretty dadgum good racing on a little half-mile racetrack, side by side through these flat corners.
Looks like the bottom's going to finally prevail. Newman and Jeff Burton, they clear Kurt Busch in the 2, but he won't give up. He keeps fighting back on that outside, just like the 48 of Johnson.
Yeah, that's going to be, Kurt's going to be in the way here. That's going to impede Johnson from moving forward.
If he gives up, he's going to be about 9th.
Now Johnson and Kyle Busch, they almost swapped. Johnson went to the inside, Kyle Busch the 18 to the outside.
Yeah, that little transition there from inside to outside, that's what broke the 48's momentum, but I think he'll be able to get it back. I think he felt like the 2 was really kind of holding him up.
Just don't see that move paying off for Kyle Busch, because if his older brother's backing up on the outside, where's he going to go?
Well, I know we've talked about him all week long as we get ready to come to Martinsville, but Denny Hamlin, that 11 car, he drives into the 3rd spot. It wasn't that many laps ago. He restarted in 27th after that pit road problem on the first pit stop.
Larry, there's places as a driver you go that you can almost check off that's where we're going to get a win, because you know how good you are at those places. And this is one of them for Denny Hamlin. Here in Richmond, it's kind of like 2 of his favorite tracks. Imagine that, they're both in Virginia.
Hamlin, one of 5 multiple race winners in the field here at Martinsville. Jeff Gordon's won here 7 times, Jimmy Johnson 6. Hamlin's won 2, as have Mark Martin and Tony Stewart.
Jimmy Johnson and Hamlin are the only guys that have won here for, what, the last 7 races, I think it is.
There's your Toyota top performers, led by Denny Hamlin in 3rd.
I think Mark Martin saw that 31 car of Jeff Burton getting all over the rear bumper. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to fight you right now, because if I do, probably that 11 car is going to take a spot from me too.
It's the 2nd time Jeff Burton has led today. 198 laps complete in the Goody's Pain Relief 500. Jeff Burton, your leader in Martinsville. He's led twice now for 24 laps in this race. Here's your UPS race summary, brought to you by the only delivery company trusted trackside by NASCAR. We've had 6 different leaders, 13 lead changes. There are 27 cars on the lead lap, and we've had 6 caution flags for a total of 38 laps, with Burton leading from Mark Martin. And Martin's held up pretty well there with just 2 tires, while Kurt Busch has faded to 11th.
I know why. Mark wanted to do this strategy. Kurt didn't want to do this strategy.
Mark will make it work.
Attitude has a lot to do with strategy.
But I'm going to tell you what, you see right there from our aerial view, Mark Martin's getting a full view out his rearview mirror of Denny Hamlin, that 11 car right now.
Well, for 2 of our top 3 drivers, this is a home game. Burton from South Boston, 65 miles away. Denny Hamlin in the 11 is from Chesterfield. That's 170 miles east of here. Elliott Sadler is from Emporia, and Kevin Conway is from Lynchburg, not far from Martinsville Speedway.
Watching these cars go around here and poking into each other. Earnhardt used to come here and he could poke people and never would even put a crease in his right front fender. I looked down in under the hood one day and he had a cow catcher built inside that right front corner that you could have pushed one of them locomotives with going down the train track over there.
Mark Martin finally gave the battle up there to Denny Hamlin. He'll just take the spot away, so that moves Denny into the 2nd position.
But I think Mark's going to come out fine with this. No, maybe he can't race people hard, having taken on just the 2 tires, but by the time they stop again, he'll have good enough track position to make up for it.
Well, Mark is that kind of driver, though. You know, if this track was wet, Mark Martin would be able to maintain a decent speed. Yep. He's just that kind of a driver.
Want to catch up with Martin Truex in 12th place because he gives us a pretty unique view of Martinsville.
Boy, I like that.
A bumper's eye view down onto the concrete of the corners. There's the curbing. Kurt Busch just ahead.
When you come off, see how Kurt's car stepped out as soon as it came off the concrete and hit the asphalt? That's really the challenge you have here. You got the car really good through the concrete here, but when it hits that strip right there, most of the time, come from asphalt to concrete to asphalt, the car will jump sideways with you if you're just a little bit loose.
Of course, that's close right there. That is really close.
It's a great view, man. And look how, I mean, you're just in the gas just for a second. Down these little straightaways.
But I think you can see with that right there the advantage that he has over Kurt Busch. It's right just past the middle of the corner, picking the throttle up right there. But Kurt's just quick enough that he can't quite get by him, but I think he'll get to the inside now. He'll take that position away, getting off into 1.
Nice shot, nice view. Right in next to that curve at 56 car.
So Martin Truex moves up to 11th.
Napa Know-how is looking pretty good today.
But yeah, he's quietly just kept his nose clean. He started back in the 20th position, and now he's looking out just outside the top 10.
We're 35 laps to halfway, but I think one thing has become pretty clear. If you're going to win here at Martinsville, you're going to need to beat Jeff Burton and Denny Hamlin today. Maybe the surprise of this point in the race as we look at that Childress car. Richard has won 6 races here, 5 with Dale Earnhardt and 1 with Ricky Rudd. But probably the surprise right now is that the 24 is not up there among them. Why not, Dick?
Well, the 24 restarted on the outside on lap 179. Gordon very unhappy about that. That's nobody's choice. He didn't want to start on the outside. He wanted to be on the inside. So he dropped back, lost a few spots on the restart position, and then he told the crew, get ready. That's what he says when he's got a problem like a tire going down. But what it turned out to be was he had scuffs on the car, and for the 2nd time in a row with scuffs on the car, it was loose at the beginning of the run. But he has motored forward from the 11th position, and now Gordon is riding in 6th spot.
2 things. The only way I'd put scuffs on my race car if I was broke. I couldn't afford to go get any stickers.
Okay.
That's one thing I can tell you. Because this track, in the race particularly, it's all about 4 brand new tires. That's when you got max grip.
You know, Darryl, you talked about earlier in the race about experience at this track, and I want to go back to the guy that's running in the 10th position right now, Joey Logano, the Rookie of the Year from last year. He came here a year ago. He blew a tire from too much brake heat. Okay, I got that lesson in the book. He came back here in the fall, finished 12th. And look at his car right now as we approach halfway. Not a lot of damage on it, and he's sitting there running 10th right now in the top 10. I think this is typical Joey Logano. I think if you tracked almost every racetrack we've been to with him, you would see a progression better each time he goes there.
He races really, really conservatively. He relies strictly on his ability to get the performance out of the car. He doesn't rough people up. He doesn't overdrive the car. He just sits there, and he's a lot like he's a young Mark Martin. And Mark Martin is the guy that said this is the guy to watch someday.
Yeah, he said he'd have put Joey in that 6 car. Joey wasn't but 16 years old when Mark was talking about retirement.
Look at the difference from last year. His rookie season, he came in here 34th in the standings. Today, he comes in here 16th.
And that's a little deceiving because, remember, he was a total victim in Atlanta of the Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski deal early in the race.
Kevin Harvick, our pole sitter based on points, has returned to the garage. First time it was right rear brake caliper, and we'll try to get an update on what has put Harvick behind the wall. Jeff Burton's lead has disappeared. Denny Hamlin has caught him. What's going to happen next?
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Nationwide Insurance, is sponsored by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
That's the old scorer's stand in turn 4 at Martinsville. You saw Speedway President Clay Earls. Here's Richard Petty celebrating a win, and look at that open face helmet on a motley dressed Darrell Waltrip.
Nice. And how about that shirt?
I was going to say,
and the scoreboard.
Are you going disco dancing when you leave the track?
That was my hair hat, man. Leave me alone.
The new leader is Chesterfield, Virginia's Denny Hamlin. Let's show you how he got the lead a lap and a half ago from fellow Virginian Jeff Burton. Now this is 1 lap before the pass. Hello, I'm coming. And then the next lap, Burton gave him just enough room.
Now Burton said if you want it that bad, go ahead and take it, because we still got the long way to go.
Not for Regan Smith, evidently. Looks like he may have a right front down as he comes around the apron, and Robbie Gordon also has right front trouble.
Yeah, they're trying to find a hole to get to the bottom. Regan Smith will not be able to get to pit road because it's like a conveyor belt of cars right now.
Caution's out.
On a track like this in Bristol, like we saw with Blaney last week, got to get a caution out. These guys can't get down with all the traffic.
Now watch Regan Smith right in front of Martin Truex. Boom, by.
See that little puff of black smoke, and that's a tire blow.
Well, I know who was very glad to see that caution was Kurt Busch. He had fallen all the way back to the 14th position in that 2 car.
Now, please don't tell me this looks like a modified. Modifieds are a lot prettier than that.
Yeah, get that right.
But that is A.J. Allmendinger trying to get back into the race.
But you can see all those support bars that are behind the noses there.
Regan Smith will make it to the pit, so will Robbie Gordon. So that Allmendinger tacks onto the back of the line.
That ended up being a great call for Alan Gustafson and Mark Martin in that 5 car, because he only went back to 3rd position, unlike we just talked about Kurt Busch in that 2, who went back to 14th.
And Brad Keselowski, who was deep in the 20s and restarted 3rd, now on this caution, Keselowski is 12th, so not a bad outcome for him either.
They're getting pretty good at that. Keselowski's group is, he and Jay Guy.
Yeah, the good part is they are. The bad part is they have to.
Yeah, well, that might be. Good point.
Krista, what are they going to do to Jimmy's car?
Well, for the first time all day, back on lap 190, Jimmy Johnson said his race car was loose, but about 32 laps later, it switched back to where it's been all day, tight in the center. They're going to continue with the adjustments they've been making on the 48. Dick?
Well, Jeff Gordon said restarting on the outside just kills him. The car is loose, and then when he gets on the bottom, the car is tight. So crew chief Steve Letarte promised that they were going to get this car better for him. Matt.
As Denny Hamlin reeled in Jeff Burton was saying the car is just getting looser and looser. Todd Barrier is going to go down on the air pressure, both rear tires to help with forward bite, Steve.
Matt, the 11 car is still just a little bit tight. Denny Hamlin saying it's rolling good through the center, but he can't get on the throttle the way he needs to. They're going to adjust that track bar up half 1 round.
And it's going to be Hamlin first off pit road, then Burton, Kyle Busch, and Jimmy Johnson.
Pretty clean that time all the way around.
except for that, four wide bump and bang right there at the exit. That's why I'm glad we have electronic scoring, sort all these things out.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is presented by Nationwide Insurance. Call or visit it online for a quote today.
We are 11 laps to halfway at Martinsville, Virginia, working the 7th caution flag of the day for Regan Smith and Robbie Gordon. And want to take a moment to send out get well wishes to Court Heitman, a longtime friend of Fox Sports. Our thoughts with him for speedy recovery.
And Larry, Mike, I talked to Kathy Pearson this morning, Larry's wife. Larry has gone through a couple of surgeries, and I actually got to talk to Larry. He was awake, and he was going to watch the race today. So set up in the bed, buddy. I told him, I said, you might want to get up out of that bed and go come on over to the track. And he said, DW, you're not going to be able to do that for a while. So
pelvic surgery for Pearson. He was injured in a crash with Charlie Glotzback, and I heard from Glotzback on Claire Lang's radio show. And Charlie's 72, and he said in his whole career until that little race at Bristol on last Saturday, he'd never gone to the hospital from the racetrack. But Charlie feeling much better and ready to get back at it. On Saturday, April 10th, our coverage of Sprint Cup Racing continues from Phoenix with the Subway Fresh Fit 600 beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Then Sunday, April 18th, we'll be in the Lone Star State for Sprint Cup Series Racing with coverage beginning from Texas at 2 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, April 25th, it's on to Talladega, Alabama. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Our coverage of NASCAR continues in high definition right after the Easter break, right here on Fox.
This is perfect for bringing the rear spoiler back. We're starting here at the little half mile, then we migrate to a 1 mile, then we go to one of the fastest tracks without the restrictor plate, Texas, and then as we all know, the biggest, the baddest, the boldest, Talladega Super Speedway.
The free pass was Sam Hornish on that caution. Taking the wave around, won Paulo Montoya, along with David Stremme and Regan Smith.
I forgot about Rooster Alexander. He's 88 years old, and Dale Jr. is his favorite driver because of the car number. And he's been doing all right. He's doing pretty good. He's home now from the hospital. Ralph, turn that volume up. We may crank it up here any minute.
We might, with Denny Hamlin and Jeff Burton going to slug it out for the lead as we are 8 laps to halfway. Green flag. And Hamlin by half a car length at the line. Burton slams it in there on the outside.
You know, we've talked about the Hendrick cars, we've talked about the Childers cars, but right now, Joe Gibbs Racing, all 3 cars in the top 7 right now.
Led by Kyle Busch in 3rd.
If you want to see what they're talking about when they say a car rolls the center, watch that 11 car. He's right on the curb and he never gets off of it, and it rolls through there. And look how much gap he puts on the 31 as he exits the corner. Now watch him down there and turn left, turn 3 and 4. Got out a little wide that time, but he'll roll that center better than anybody here.
And he's able to put the power down and stay, which is one of the big challenges, getting these cars into the corner, but also getting them off the corner with over 800 horsepower.
So behind Hamlin, the other Gibbs cars, Kyle Busch in 3rd, Joey Logano in 7th. All 3 of Joe Gibbs cars right there. How about for Rooster? We crank it up.
There you go. Come on, Ralph.
takes the lead back. Will be 1 lap to halfway when they get to the stripe.
And I just think the track is changing so much. Mike, you asked me about 50 or 60 laps ago about how cloudy and overcast it had gotten. Now the sun's trying to pop back out, so the track's going to continue to change, as well as the rubber going down on the concrete surface.
Levin hit the curb off the 2 that time. It just cost him a little time there. Man, that 31 car. You know, Larry, think about this. What's up with the 83?
Little tire rub there, Darrell, from contact.
Yeah, he's bumped into somebody. I was thinking,
he got a little bit of smash mouth there.
See what happened.
I believe this was just shortly after the restart.
Oh, the 12 had to get out of the gas. He was headed for the fence, and the 83 made a serious contact.
Right now, Vickers is back in the 20th position, one of about 27 cars we still have on the lead lap.
I was thinking about Jeff Burton. You know, he finished 15th in both races here last year. And here he is. I mean, this car has become alive this year. Fastest car over at Charlotte testing. He was leading the fastest car here in practice. These aren't bad cars here either.
Nope, late in last season, the RCR cars came on and they haven't looked back. They've been strong all this year. Kyle Busch trying to hold off Mark Martin. Matt, this is for 4th place.
And Mike, they were impressed, everyone on this team, with how Mark was able to hold his position pretty much on the different tire cycle on that last run. But now he's on the same cycle. He did dial around a brake into the front because the car basically had lost grip, and he knew after 15 laps he'd dial it back and it would be right there. They're feeling pretty good about their package so far.
Side by side into the corner, and that smoke, Darrell, continues to billow from the tailpipes of Kyle Busch's car when he lets off the gas.
Yeah, we've talked about that all through practice, and it's doing it again today in the race. And there's the rest of that story that I do not have yet. But a car to smoke like that, there's a reason for it.
And we think it's something they're doing to try to slow the car down, getting in the corner above and beyond the brake pedal.
Yeah, it's some sort of engine brake, but I don't know. I don't have all the details. I know if my car used to smoke like that, I'd have been changing motors.
You know, the car we're looking back at him from, Jeff Gordon, in that 24 car that led a number of laps earlier in this race. They seem to get off, but now it almost seems like they're starting to get their arms back around it again as we're just 6 laps past the halfway point.
But Larry, you know, and I do too, you don't put sticker tires on during the race. You might be able to do that during the practice, but man, scuff tires. You always want sticker tires during the race. It's just so, it's probably 0.3 of a second. Scuffs to new, and whoops. Man, boy, smoke was all.
Oh, come on, outside here, outside.
He was wearing McMurray out.
Yeah, that was more than casual contact there.
Yeah, and I don't think he's done with him yet.
These guys are battling for the 20th position. McMurray in the 1, Stewart in the 14 car.
And you're pretty vulnerable when you're stuck up on the outside like that, and I can tell you.
Tony came right up the racetrack and let Jamie know it. See how that started again here.
I think, yeah, right here, I think Tony got a little upset because Jamie in the 1 car cut him off. Then they make contact there. Now this is pretty much trying to get after him right there. You see those wheels going to the right and the left. So watch his front wheels. Make contact. Now he just says, I got to wear this cat out.
Well, I think the losing one on the stick there may be Tony Stewart in that 14. I'm not sure how much damage he's got to that fender.
.260 laps complete. Jeff Burton the leader by 0.6 of a second over Denny Hamlin.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Nationwide Insurance, is sponsored by Toyota. Moving forward, by Cobalt Tools. Cobalt, the next generation of tough tools. And by DirecTV. For the most HD channels, get DirecTV.
231 laps to go. There's why they call it the paper clip. Flat, 800-foot straightaways, Martinsville. Aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. To learn how to win $1 million, go to directv.com/NASCAR.
And you can see how when they redid this track, they extended the concrete on corner exit to try to help with get some of that transition so you'd be more up on the straightaway when you come out of the corner. Used to be about the same distance in and out, but they extended a corner exit quite a bit off both corners.
Now, you know the history of Carl Edwards, the 99, and Brad Keselowski, the 12. Talladega last year, Atlanta this year, and this 2 laps ago.
Don't worry about the back.
Yeah. Just look out the front.
Yeah. He apologized, said he hit the curb, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Good.
They're battling for the 14th position right now.
That's the thing about this place. You race just as hard for 20th as you do, sometimes harder, Darrell, than you do for the lead here.
It's more difficult to race in traffic and back in the pack because of that stopping and going. Right when you're ready to go, the other guy lets off. Or we saw it in a truck race, Hornaday and Sauter. Sauter started to go, then Hornaday started to go, and they made contact.
Krista?
Brad Keselowski, really impressive. Obviously, that pit strategy definitely helped them out. But remember, he does not have many laps here at all. Some truck starts, but this is his first Cup race. Crew Chief Jay Guy used happy hour almost like a road course practice, telling his driver just go out there and log laps.
Keselowski is 16th. Been on the lead lap all day. Here is David Reagan in 17th.
David has 7 starts here. He's completed all but 4 laps of competition in that 6 car.
Brian Vickers in 18th with a bit of front end damage we saw earlier. Casey Kane in 19th.
Just hadn't been able to move up very far. He's been kind of stuck right around in there.
And at the front, Denny Hamlin. Back again, Jeff Burton, first, second. And lurking behind the leaders in third. Where have we seen this before?
I know.
Jimmy Johnson.
Most of the guys that I've seen that have a lot of success here, you hardly mention their names until about halfway through the race. And all of a sudden you start to see them in the top 5, then you start to see them in the top 3, and then you start to see them in victory circle.
I just think where that 11 car has the advantage over the 31 cars, we see Mark Martin in the 5 running into the 4th position. I just think the 11 is a little better on the long run than the 31 car.
So Mark Martin, who has led this race for 25 laps, Martin is 4th, and Jeff Gordon is 5th.
He's coming back too, Mike. I've been watching the 24, much better than he was the last run.
If you take Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Denny Hamlin, between the 3 of them, they've won 12 of the last 14 races here. Kyle Busch has worked his way up to 6th.
And he's done that too. He has his work clothes on today because that's what he's been doing, working hard.
The looks of the car speak for itself.
His teammate Joey Logano is 7th, so all the Gibbs cars are in the top 7 right now. And looking back from Logano, there is 8th place Ryan Newman, who had the fastest car in pre-qualifying practice here. Dick?
Yeah, and they were hoping that they were going to get the pole so that they could get one of those stellar pit positions, Mike, but instead they started 26th, and they've got a car that's on the lead lap right in front of them for every pit stop. But the crew has done a really nice job today, and Tony Gibson, the crew chief, has as well. They've taken a car that was very tight at the beginning of the race, and now they're very close to having it quite well balanced. Newman happy with the performance of his race car, running in the top 10 through much of this end of the event.
Thanks, Dick. 9th will be Clint Boyer, and he's running just about 8 seconds off the lead. So good day for 2 of the Childress cars. Kevin Harvick's is in the garage with more brake trouble. And 10th, right about where he was in final practice, is Matt Kenseth, who has been the best Ford all weekend long.
But I think Todd Parrott is crew chief in that group. I think they've been taking big swings at that car on pit stops. They fell well outside the top 10. Now they're back inside of it.
Martin Truex has settled in at 11th. He's running about 10 seconds off the leader. And behind him, Kurt Busch draws in 12th. And Steve, it looks like they've pretty well overcome that pit road. I won't call it a miscue, but let's call it a miscommunication earlier.
It was a miscommunication, Mike. The problem Kurt Busch has now is he says the
scripted with his race car, much like a Jimmy Johnson type breakdown. The car was good, it's hit tight. Now it's really plowing. They made some adjustments on the last stop, air pressure and a chassis adjustment. Right now, he's just soldiering on in 13. Tight.
Behind Junior is Carl Edwards. We saw Carl up near the top 5.
Yeah, he ran really
today.
good.
Turn 4, Montoya got way up there.
Right front's down on the 42. Just saw him take off up the hill. Didn't hit the wall, I don't think.
He should be able to get to the bottom here right now and should be out of harm's way possibly, as long as it doesn't come apart down there in turn 1 and 2.
Flat tire in the group.
There won't be a caution. Montoya will get to pit road as Kevin Harvick returns to the racetrack.
I think you'll see a little black smoke come out of that right front. Boom, there she goes.
The difference this time, he was able to get her woed down before he hit the wall. So he makes it to pit road. We stay green. We also need to mention our points leader, Kevin Harvick. A lot of brake caliper problems in the rear. He has now made it back out on the racetrack 99 laps down.
Oh, it's a battle. Harvick's 99 laps down and Montoya's 100.
Yeah. Here's a man that's done a great job of recovering. Remember this cat? He was stuck in the mud early in the race, got spun around up on the curve down here, had to get a push off, and Ruderman has worked his way back up to top 12, didn't he? 15. Okay.
Yeah, it was lap 75. He was sitting down there stuck in the mud.
Got the lucky dog and recovering nicely.
We're at that point in the race where you wonder, is Hamlin the fastest car on the track, or is Burton just marking his progress? Which Virginian are you pulling for?
You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. There's how many eyeballs are glued to Fox today to watch today's race, and how many are glued to NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. For more, go to sprint.com/speed. Denny Hamlin and Jeff Burton working traffic, staying just a few car lengths apart. Elliott Sadler's car in petty blue to honor the King's 15 Martinsville victories that leads all drivers, and the upcoming opening and inauguration of the first class into the NASCAR Hall of Fame next month in Charlotte. The exhibits already arriving as we mark the final 50 days.
Another the tire down here on the 78 car, same spot, same place, up turn 4 there, got up near the wall.
I think Regan Smith actually had a tire issue earlier.
He did, and it's Robbie Gordon twice, Juan Montoya twice, now it's Regan Smith twice. Larry, what's happening here?
And we are getting word that on McMurray's, just exactly what Darrell and I was talking about, melted the bead, which is just simply from brake heat. Regan Smith will make it to pit road.
If your car is not handling just right, Mike, and you've got to just ride the car down into the corner with the brake, that's where you get all that heat and blow that bead out. So if you can stay off the brakes, your tires will last longer.
Here's a good battle for 6th place. Joey Logano under Jeff Gordon.
Jeff's been in the wrong place at the wrong time a couple of times. On the 42 car, when he blew the tire, Jeff ran up on the back of him, had to slow down. And when the 1 car blew a tire, ran up on the back of him, had to slow down.
Turn 2, around goes Sadler.
Caution will fly this time, and I'm going to tell you what, that was a huge break for Tony Stewart and Greg Biffle and Casey Kane. They were about to fall into the clutches of our leader, Denny Hamlin.
Somebody poked the 19 and turned him around. I can't.
Let's see who somebody was.
Oh.
Somebody named Mark.
Oh, Mark. There's a mark in the car, and now there's one on the car.
It'll be the 8th caution flag of the day. And it comes out at lap 304.
Pit road is closed right now, but you better bet you everyone will be there, because we've been about 60-something laps since they made their last trip to pit road.
What do you think, Larry? With almost 200 laps to go, are we past the point of gambling on 2 tires?
I think you've got to change 2 here because, you know, you've got to change 4 here because the fuel window is about 130, 40 laps. I know I made you nervous for a second.
Fell out of my chair.
But there's no question. You've got 60-something laps on your tires. 4 tires is the only way to go.
Here's your Nationwide Insurance race summary after 304 laps. Denny Hamlin out front, 23 cars on the lead lap, and right now Jimmy Johnson would leave here 13 points ahead of Matt Kenseth. Jeff Burton would jump 4 points to 3rd. Sam Hornish will get the free pass on this caution flag.
That'll make him feel better.
And here come the leaders. Kristen.
Well, Mike, about 30 laps ago, Jimmy Johnson was saying he was free in and off. That's the first time all day he had that situation. Now he said he's just rolling in free, but he still has that tight in center condition, so they're continuing on the adjustments they've had all day. Dick?
The handle has gone away on Jeff Gordon's car. It's tight going into the corners, tight in the center, loose off. Said he can't even touch the gas. So they're making a bunch of adjustments to try to help him get in and hoping that fits the exit. Matt.
Was rooting on his pit crews. He was driving down pit road. He's forecasting needs a little help on the longer run. The car, not the grip that he needed. Air pressure change, Steve.
Matt chassis adjustment on the 11 of Denny Hamlin, saying his car was just a little bit too snug. 4 tires, half a round out of the left rear.
We'll give a call to that Richard Childress crew. They've got Jeff Burton out first in front of Hamlin, Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, and Kyle Busch.
And they did not have the ideal situation. That just goes to show you how good their pit stop was.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Nationwide Insurance, is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Big racing fan? Get Verizon Championship Racing for race highlights, behind the scenes, and exclusive interviews right on your VCast phone. From the network with the most 3G coverage, Verizon.
They line up for Martinsville Speedway hot dogs. They're Jesse Jones Franks. They cost $2. They load them up with slaw and chili and mustard. 2 beers had how many of them? 17. The teams keep score of who's had the most hot dogs in a Martinsville weekend.
I'd like to see how many beers he had to go with all those. With more than 2, I know.
Nickname's 2 beer, so I don't know.
You know why they call him that? Because if he drinks 2 beers, they got to carry him home.
Big break for Tony Stewart. He was the next car to be lapped, and he is back on pit road, and they may miss this restart with the 14.
Well, he got that. He's been wanting that rear end fixed, and he's working on it.
Stewart gets out of the pits, and he'll be just ahead of the leaders when they come storming down the backstretch. Burton and Hamlin fight it out for the lead.
You know, quickly on Tony Stewart, they changed the rear end housing in Saturday's practice, and apparently whatever they put in it, he does not like.
And they're trying to crutch it with making adjustments on pit road right now.
Burton back to the front. Here comes Jimmy on the outside against his teammate Mark Martin.
Boy, look at the run Boyer in that 33 car got off turn 2. He slides up into the top 5 trying to get to the bottom.
Tight little grape right here. Well, Jimmy lost a little time to the 5 off of turn 4 that time, and
Kyle coming. Yep, here comes Kyle.
He gets up beside of him and puts that smoke screen in his window. He'll probably have to close his eyes.
4-car fight for 4th place.
Boy,
Reagan gets into the Ambrose, and around goes Marcos.
Yeah, his car shot up the racetrack and just got right into the side of the 47. No caution yet. And he will get it going. We stay green.
Boy, Tony Stewart was sure hoping that would have been a caution.
Let's have another look at this one. Watch the 47 and the 6 and the 00. Plenty of contact to go around here.
What's this?
Reagan bounced off the curb and into Ambrose.
But I think it all started with a little help from Ruderman.
Oh, he's around this time, though, off turn 4.
Hold it up.
And this time there's a caution.
I believe he's got a tire. He may have a tire down or something because he just spun around that time.
It's the 9th flag of the day. Flat left side tire, we're told, for Marcos Ambrose. Let's show you the second spin.
Yeah, he's got a tire down. I think that left rear was down in. Yeah, you can see it there, I think.
And you saw Tony Stewart go by, so he was very glad to see the caution finally come out.
Well, what they do, the rear end housing is on eccentrics. It's where the trailing arms mount to the chassis, and you can loosen those bolts and move that rear end forward and aft, and apparently that's what they did.
We've had several drivers with multiple tire issues today. Let's get out of Jeff Hammond.
Mike, we've been talking all day long about the brakes and how they kind of affect the tires as well as the brakes here at Martinsville. Now, we've already discussed these rotors. They can get temperatures up to 1,400 degrees because of these brake pads, which they get 2,000 degrees at that point. And Larry McReynolds and Darrell have been talking about it all day. When you lose the bead, right in here is where the problem begins. This sits right close to the rotor itself. So when you start thinking about baking this part of the tire with over 1,000, 11, 1,200 degrees of temperature, what happens eventually, it starts to melt. And when it melts that bead, eventually it explodes. And that's what's been happening to so many tires here at Martinsville today.
And Goodyear made a tire change, and the biggest change they made was to the construction of the right side to try to help that, but you can only overcome so much of that heat.
That wheel, when you put the wheel on these race cars at Martinsville, particularly with the size brakes in there, it is absolutely packed. Right, I mean, you can hardly get a feeler gauge of 100,000s between the calipers and the wheels themselves. All that heat transfers right into the wheel.
While pit road was open, Tony Stewart came back in, and now a number of the lap down and damaged cars are in. Let's check with Chris Myers.
Thanks, Mike. We have 183 laps to go, and throughout the course of the day, you know, short track racing, small spaces, huge tempers. As you see, Carl Edwards getting a little bit bounced around. Here's Jeff Burton and Denny Hamlin, a couple of Virginians who happen to be in the lead right now. On board with Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he watches Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch, who had the early miscommunication issue, trying to work his way back to the top. And some of the other activity here with Clint Boyer getting into Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well. We saw drivers trying to get back, or at least, I don't know if it's retaliation, but
even his teammates right here. Now you see the big battle we saw earlier between Tony Stewart, and here's a new rival, you might say, between Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards. This is short track racing, Chris, at its finest.
And all in all, we've had already 19 lead changes, Mike, in this race compared to 13 in this event last year. So after all the beating and banging, at least the guys are trading spots up near the front.
Thanks, Chris. Since Todd Berrier came over to Jeff Burton's team as crew chief, they've started 9 races, 2 second-place finishes, 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s, average finish of 8th, and they have been on their game all weekend here at Martinsville.
They have.
Yeah, they've completed all but 1 lap, and that was because of the fuel mileage deal at Texas in the fall.
Burton is your leader in the 31. Denny Hamlin. They kind of pack him up for that restart, and away we go.
Everybody's anticipating when to go. Sometimes you get it wrong.
Kyle Busch now second row on the outside in the 18. That's the highest he's been all day.
Denny got a great run off turn 2 that time. I thought he'd really try to drive it down into turn 3, but they're still side by side.
And that 18 car, let me tell you, it's not the best handling car out there, but he has really worked that thing hard today. Kyle has.
Attaway, boss, attaway.
Jeff Gordon trying to get to the inside underneath the 18 of Kyle Busch, but Kyle's trying to move up on Mark Martin for 3rd. Can't do it. He drops the line. Jimmy Johnson, though, has backed up 4 spots since the restart. Now he's on the outside of Martin Truex.
Yeah, they had him pinned to the high side, and he could not find a hole to fall back in. He finally gets in behind that 56 car.
You know, Larry, I think as time goes by, these spotters and crew chiefs are going to have to start figuring out what line you want to be in on a restart as you leave pit road. You may want to give up a spot to get in the right lane.
Prime example, Kurt Busch at Bristol last weekend.
Contact near constant at one place on the racetrack or another.
Oh, yeah.
After these restarts.
Somebody's hitting somebody every lap.
It's like a big accordion. It all stretches out in the straightaway and it all bunches right back together as everybody piles into the corner. Great shots from our DirecTV blimp as you watch Sam Hornish on the outside. For a fellow who started the day not feeling well and thinking he might need relief, Hornish has had quite a race. He's currently 18th.
He's done a really nice job today. Been in trouble a couple of times, but he's stayed on the lead lap.
Well, he actually went a lap down, but he got it back by the free pass not that many cautions ago.
That's a lucky dog.
Side by side with Casey Kane.
And just to put it in perspective, we still have 175 laps to go. So whatever you got right now may not be good enough to win this race. So you want to keep thinking about that.
They are racing for 18th with David Rudeman, the 0020th. And then the Roush Fenway cars. The 6 of Reagan and the 16 of Biffle. And then hapless Tony Stewart, who has, I've never seen a 23rd place car run so hard here at Martinsville for so long as Stewart trying to figure out what's up with that car and how it or if he can get it back toward the front.
I think they just got confused on our practice. When that car started to race today, I thought Tony had them covered. He came right to the front and the car looked perfect. But all of a sudden, like he flipped a switch, thing has started going backwards, and they've done nothing but work on it ever since.
Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, 4th place. Kyle opened the door, and here comes Gordon.
But I definitely think they're starting to sneak back up on this 24 car. But I think where we'll have to really evaluate it, almost a lot like Jeff Burton in the 31 versus the 11, is the long haul. It's not been that long since they put 4 fresh tires on all these cars.
Yeah, it's still just a little wee bit early to be holding anybody up. You know, if somebody's a little quicker than you are, looks like the 18's got the center of his splitter kind of knocked up in the air there. That'll hurt his downforce some, Matt.
DW, the hood's bounced. He's got some fenders flapping. His big concern, the long run. He said his car, he doesn't feel like is going to be as good in the long run. That's why he called Dave off on one adjustment. But basically, it just doesn't turn when he used to be able to turn well. That's his biggest issue.
They're trying to adjust the track conditions and car conditions, which makes it tough.
Well, this car, it really is rearing the front end up quite a bit more than normal. I'm not sure if that's from the splitter being damaged or just in the shock package they have on the car. You want to rear the front end up on exit, transfer weight to the rear tires, and you want it to rock forward on the entry, let it come down on the front tire. That may be a little exaggerated.
How bad I get it to roll to center, how good I get it to roll to center, how hard I get on the gas. I've tried a scenario out here I can try. I just can't get it in the beginning of the run, dude.
And you know, the corners are so tight here. We saw that from our aerial view. Is, you know, like we go to the bigger racetracks, you know, you almost work on the middle or you work on the exit, but here it's the whole corner. If you're bad getting in, it kills the middle, kills the exit.
Well, what happens if you're bad getting in, Larry? You have to use so much brake. That gets the car kind of rolled over and sliding into the corner. That's why the driver then gets off the brake. The car won't turn because you've carried so much speed or so much brake. Now you got a car that was loose in, won't turn in the middle, and that usually means you're loose off.
Looks like Denny Hamlin is gaining a bit of ground back on Jeff Burton. The number 11 has been to victory lane here 13 times at Martinsville. Can you name the drivers for those victories? We will when we come back. Denny Hamlin had all but caught Jeff Burton as they worked their way past Kevin Conway. So that's 3 Virginia drivers. Conway from Lynchburg, Hamlin from Chesterfield, and Jeff Burton from South Boston. Leading the parade around here with still 25 cars on the lead lap and 155 laps to go in the Goody's Pain Relief 500. We mentioned the 11 has been to victory lane with 4 different drivers, a total of 13 times at Martinsville. And there they are. 3 of those drivers drove for legendary Junior Johnson, who was a guest of the Speedway here yesterday. Denny Hamlin, of course, won with Joe Gibbs.
I'll tell you something else I didn't know that Harvick pointed out to me. Tide has won 7 races here. in the Cup and the Truck Series with 4 different drivers as well.
Counting his victory Saturday.
Yes,
in the Tide truck.
It was me and Ricky Rudd and Ricky Craven have all won in the Tide car here.
5th place changes hands. Kyle Busch, Ryan Newman. Actually doesn't change. Newman had a run on Kyle for 5th.
But I will say, I think that 39 car, he's another one of the better cars on the long run. I've been watching the scoring monitor, and his lap times, they don't fall off like they do with some of these other guys.
Another driver who's had a good rebound from a long way back is Kurt Busch. Steve, he's fought his way up to 8th place.
And let's give a lot of credit to his crew chief, Steve Addington. He's been fighting for 200 laps to get Kurt calmed down. Kurt just said, I'm not turning as well on exit. The brakes are a little snappy into the turns. Steve Addington said, now that's good feedback. We can work on that.
One thing I like about Addington, Larry, he has a way of soothing the driver. I just saw him last week over there at Bristol. You know, he walked up to Kurt Busch and he was like the guy that what do they call the guy that blows in the horse whisperer. He walked up to Kurt Busch, he put his arm around him, he spoke into his ear, and Kurt immediately calmed down.
Well, he had a good 2 years of experience on working on that with Kurt's brother, Kyle, in that 18 car.
Good point.
Well, now, how about the car right behind him? In 7 of the last 8 Martinsville races, Jimmie Johnson has led more than 100 laps in 7 of 8 races. Today, he has not led a single lap, and he's kind of floundering around here in 9th place.
Yeah, and really, truly, this is what we saw in practice, which I thought they were just messing around, trying things. But they haven't had the dominant car this weekend that they normally have here.
Well, our leader, Jeff Burton, I think he is starting to fall into the clutches of that 11 car. I think it's 2 things. One, the 31 car is starting to get into heavy traffic, like Tony Stewart in that 14 car is trying to stay on the lead lap. And I just think the 11 car, this is where it starts to shine about 30 or 40 laps into a run.
You know, give Stewart a lot of credit, though. He's not a threat to the leader, so he's not going to be in the leader's way. That's a courtesy that will someday be returned on the racetrack to Tony.
He preaches that all the time, and you know, so whatever you preach, whatever you give, you got to get.
Hamlin's there for the lead. You know, we've talked all season about the Earnhardt-Childress engine package and just how strong that's been. And there was evidence right there. Jeff Burton pulled Hamlin off the corner and down the straightaway a car length and a half.
Yeah, those Childress cars last year would handle on the straightaway. They just wouldn't handle in the corner. This year they got both.
It's almost like Hamlin's starting to search around just a little bit in the middle of the corner. I know Darrell pointed out several times in the earlier part of the race how well that car right here rose the middle of the corner. Right now, it looks like he's a little better in the middle of 1 and 2 than maybe in the middle of 3 and 4.
And remember, Hamlin is facing knee surgery from that basketball injury in January. That surgery will happen either late this afternoon or Wednesday, depending on how quickly he can get back to Charlotte. Casey Mears is the standby driver for Denny Hamlin. But right now, it looks like the only relief Hamlin needs is from that 31.
He's looking right here like he might be able to make a pass. It's going to be a drag race off of turn 4 here. Hamlin's got the best line, and Burton's going to let him go.
There's a lot of lap traffic up in front of him, but Hamlin will get the position before they get back to turn 1.
And listen, it's his left leg. If you can race here at Martinsville with your leg and there's something wrong with your leg and you brake with your left foot, man, he's going to be awesome when he gets that fixed.
But you know, Mike, over the offseason, I think everyone, I know myself included, was picking based on the way they finished the 2009 season. This 11 team could be the one that puts an end to this 48-car streak of championship. He won the last race of the year. Had it not been for some issues in the chase with the engines, he may have been a contender for the championship. They have not even had a top 15 finish so far in 2010.
But Larry, as good a luck as let's say Jimmie Johnson has, always in the right place, right time. The 11's just the opposite. Always in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Sometimes self-inflicted, sometimes mechanical ones.
Yeah, just really bad luck.
Krista, we've been wondering about Jimmie Johnson, who's just making laps. They're in 9th place. What's up?
Yeah, really, he just fell back. He restarted 5th, fell back to 10th. And this is, you know, some teams would love to have that sort of track position, but that's the furthest back that he's been all day. Chad Knaus just reminding him to get back and find his rhythm. But you were talking about maybe were they experimenting a little bit in practice? Well, yes, they were. Chad told me they were trying some things during happy hour on Saturday for the fall race. And Jimmy said he wishes they would have qualified, even if it meant a worse starting spot, because they want to be prepared for the fall. That could have hurt them today.
Well, but honestly, running 9th right now, if you based it off practice, this is what I would say that about where he would be running. He did not look like a race-winning car Saturday.
He was 8th in practice on Saturday.
Now, he won this race last year, only led 42 laps in the win here last March, but he was a contender much of the day. And for Jimmy Johnson today, that's not been the case. Denny Hamlin leads Jeff Burton by half a second, 137 laps to go.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Nationwide Insurance, is delivered by UPS, the only delivery company trusted trackside by NASCAR.
Man.
Caution is out at Martinsville Speedway.
Pit road was crazy that time, guys.
It was. David Stremme came to a halt on the inside of the front straightaway, couldn't get going. So caution flag waved, and after pit stops, a penalty on Mark Martin, equipment violation in the number 5 pit, so he will have to return.
Yeah, and there's several things that could have happened there, and we'll try to figure it out. You know, possibly a wrench left in the back window for adjustments. But yeah, he's 3rd, and with 130-something laps to go, that's going to put him back to about 24th. He'll have to go to the back of the pack.
Usually an equipment violation means that something left the box or rolled out of control of the team. And we're told that the air hose got caught, and that is the reason for the penalty. The air hose that leads to the wrenches, that air guns that change the tires.
He's going to have his work cut up for him now with just that few laps to go. Here you see Crew Chief Alan Gustafson trying to figure out what in the world has happened.
Get me a name.
And to rally his troops.
Oh, he's arguing about the whole thing here. He said, hey, wait a minute.
So they'll bring him back in and top Mark off while he's there. Denny Hamlin's your leader. Jeff Burton. Mark Martin was in 3rd place. The Great American Pastime kicks up on Fox. Fox Saturday Baseball coming at you.
Welcome as always to Baseball on Fox. As if this game needed any more emotion. A dramatic towering home run. Unbelievable. Leap and a catch. He didn't do it again, did he? Yes, he did. What a game, I'll say.
April 10th, check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. And here's what happened to Mark Martin. One of the things with the addition of the rear spoiler is the lengthening of the rear quarter panel down toward the ground. As the tire changer came around, the air hose got caught on the bottom, that little bottom lip of the fender, and when Mark took off, it ripped out the air hose and it ricocheted around, and he had to come back in for penalty stop.
When we get on the left side of the car, you'll be able to see it actually pulled the bottom of the quarter panel out over on the left side behind the tire. Well, they just shoved it back in. It was pulled out there pretty good. I think they pushed it back in.
How much material did they add there, Larry, to give additional side force after changing from the wing to the spoiler?
It's 4 inches right behind the rear tire, tapered up to nothing where it joins back onto the rear bumper. And I think you'll see it right here. You can see it folded out there. They're going to top him off with fuel. Might as well go ahead and straighten that quarter panel out while you're there. But Mark's going to have to go back all the way to about the 24th position. So a long way to go and a short time to get there.
That cost him 21 positions as Mark was 3rd entering the pits.
Well, we still got 130 laps to go, guys. So it's almost.
Go when you get to the line.
Got a lot of time.
Lots of time.
Now, what will happen with all these teams, Mike, with that caution, that puts pretty much everyone into a fuel window that they can make it. Fuel is no longer an issue. I think now the gamble will be when the cautions fall, what you want to do on your tire situation.
So Denny Hamlin and Jeff Burton will lead them around for this restart. Clint Boyer, Burton's teammate, back there in 5th. Hamlin's teammate, Kyle Busch, right behind him in 3rd, with Jeff Gordon 4th. And what a comeback for Kurt Busch. He's up to 6th place.
He's been trying to overcome that miscue on that pit road call where they stayed out for a long time now.
Ryan Newman 7th, Martin Truex, Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the top 10. Green flag.
Tell you another guy the cautions have fallen right for is that 18 car. About the time he falls off, he's been able to grab a caution, get 4 tires on that thing, and it's kept him at the front here most of the afternoon.
Talked about Clint Boyer earlier in that 33 car. He keeps working his way up through there. Right now he's inside the top 5 and 5th.
Oh, I believe that little hot orange and yellow 24 car might be resurfacing here, Larry.
Jeff Gordon, I would say you're right. Right now he's about the only car in the outside. He got beat up a little bit there, late exit of turn 4. But Dick, it's like they make a lot of adjustments on that car every stop, it seems.
Yeah, and the adjustments that they made on the last one before this stop, Larry, have got that car right about where Gordon wanted it. Not quite perfect, but pretty close. And I want to correct something that was said earlier in the day. It has been sticker tires all day long on the 24.
And that makes a whole lot more sense, Darryl, because I think you and I both looked at each other. It's like, boy, putting scuffs on in a race.
Yeah, that wouldn't be normal for here. That's for sure.
Gordon and Newman side by side. This is for 5th. And here comes Kurt Busch. Busch moves back into the top half dozen, and Matt Kenseth is trying to move as high up the ladder as he's been all day.
Yeah, I thought that 24, but he's gotten caught up on the outside, and it is killing him, man. He is. Everybody's taking advantage of him being stuck out there.
And of course, a good day for Matt Kenseth would possibly mean he could leave here with the points lead, considering all the problems Kevin Harvick has had.
3rd place, Clint Boyer.
Clear.
Richard Childress Racing puts Childress cars now 2nd and 3rd. Joe Gibbs Racing 1st and 4th.
Pretty impressed with that 17 car, Larry. They have done a nice job.
Yeah, he just drove by Kurt Busch for 6th, Darryl.
Great work.
And he gets a nice compliment from his crew chief.
See that? I just passed the car in the top 10 by myself. It's beautiful.
That's good. I like that.
This is why when you come to these racers, you want to have a scanner and you want to listen to these drivers and their spotters and their crew chiefs. Sometimes they're having as much fun here as you are or we are. Steve, is there trouble on the 2?
Could be, Mike. Kurt Busch just asked Steve Addington if all the wheels were tight. Steve said yes. Kurt said it doesn't feel like it. I'm going to continue to ride around and hope for the best.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of spots in these last few laps. He has now fallen all the way back to 9th position, about to lose 9th.
One thing that'll happen to you here late in the race, your rotors have been through heat cycles, and sometimes you'll get one that's warped just a little bit. And it'll actually, when you put your foot on the brake, it'll make it feel like you've got a bad vibration. You'll have to just kind of feel it out and see if that's the case or not.
So now he's going to fall to the 48 car, so that's going to knock him outside the top 10. I mean, he just continues to lose spots. This would be a group that would love to see a caution fall. But, you know, going back to Matt Kenseth in that 17 car, I think one reason that he kind of made that comment, is the big picture of Martinsville. This has not been a great racetrack for Matt. 20 starts, 2 top 5 finishes, but Darrell, we were talking about it Saturday. Across the board, this has not been a good track for Roush Fenway.
No, normally he struggles to stay on the lead lap here. I think all the times I remember seeing him get the lucky dog and be up on the inside trying to get a lap back. Got a little duel going on here.
4th place. And here comes Newman.
Newman has done a nice job today, too. You know, when you think about where he started, way back, about 26, I think it was, somewhere back in there.
Right.
His car looks pretty clean right now, and it's fast.
Ryan finished 6th here in March last year and 7th in October.
You wouldn't think about, he's kind of like a Buddy Baker kind of a driver here. You know, you think him be like super speedway kind of guy, not the finesse for a short track, but gets around here pretty good.
And don't forget, Buddy won a race here.
That's right.
For all his super speedway prowess, he did win a short track race at Martinsville.
I remember it.
Guys, it looked like Kurt Busch finally decided whatever was going on with that car, Steve, that it wasn't going to get any better, so he's on pit road.
Yeah, Larry, in fact, his problem was he could not find a hole to get down onto pit road, or he would have been here even sooner. They're going to change right side tires on that 2 car.
That's the only thing I would question. If you're going to come to pit road at Martinsville on the green, I know every second is precious. Make sure you fix the problem. Go with 4 tires. Because if you don't, you're going to be back to pit road in a few laps.
Here are 2 teammates heating it up pretty good.
And Larry,
Johnson and Dale Jr.
I 100% agree with you, except that maybe the tire changer said he's right, boss.
If they finally figured that out and he knew exactly which side, absolutely. But if there's a question, go with 4.
And Jeff Gordon coming back against Matt Kenseth. This is for 6th place.
It's like we've got cars that, boy, we got a battle for the lead. Jeff Burton just drives to the inside of Denny Hamlin. No contest. He'll take the lead back.
That 31 car just, I mean, it just goes, man. It's getting through the corner good, comes out of the hole like better than anybody.
Here's the difference, I think. Earlier, the last time Hamlin took the lead, they were getting into a whole lot of traffic. And it looked like Burton let him go. Sure, you push your way through the traffic and I'll ride along. What's in front of them now? Clear sailing. Burton says, I want the lead back. Let me see if I can get away.
He did.
I like the way he's thinking. 109 laps to go in Martinsville.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Nationwide Insurance, is sponsored by AT&T, a better 3G experience, and by Chevy. Every model is backed by a 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Live Monday at Martinsville, just about over 100 laps to go. And Jeff Burton, who last year led all of the entire year, 96 laps. That was the entire year. He's already led 130 today in this race alone, trying to hold off Denny Hamlin. And our AT&T race break brought to you by AT&T. To text your fastest pit crew, you can do it to 2258. And Jeff, your fastest after last week, it was Brent Keselowski. How about today?
Well, today the 31 car of Jeff Burton's crew been doing a great job on pit road, along with Denny Hamlin's number 11, and also solid off of pit road in my book, the 24 of Jeff Gordon.
And if you want to get involved, you can. Delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. You can text it to 2258 as we watch, Mike, the battle for the lead.
It's going to get pretty heated, Chris. The spotters on the roof looking out behind us are seeing the same thing we are. There is a shower off to the west. We don't know if it's headed in this direction, but anytime precipitation's in the area, it's up for grabs. But I love the way these 2 drivers have been able to trade the lead back and forth, and you see the dark clouds back there behind the starter stand.
It will not rain as long as these cars keep making circles.
I'm with you, Darrell.
Just trust me on that.
Not for another 98 laps anyway.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, Denny Hamlin, that last time in the turn 3, he drove her down in there. He got up beside Burton, tried to right there. Burton shut the door.
Larry, what I see here is the 11 starts off 4 or 5 laps. He's fast. 31 comes in 10, 15, maybe 20 laps. He's fast. Then the 11 starts to work him back over after about 20, 25 laps.
21 lead changes so far today. The record is 25. That was set 30 years ago, and Hamlin makes lead change number 22.
Yeah, I think Burton tried to pick the gas up a little too soon there. His car got a little bit loose, so he had to give the lead away off turn 2 that time.
See, Burton's smart, though. He knows what we know. I'm good for a few laps, and then he comes back on me. I can't hold him up. I don't want to take a chance on getting in a wreck right now. Won't be this way at the end.
And now they've got an aggravation behind them called Kurt Busch in the 2 car, but what Kurt's doing is perfectly good. He's 2 down. He's trying to get one of them back where it would put him in a position to get that free pass.
Got a fast enough car to do it. He caught these guys from way back. I got a good idea that Burton will ease up and let him go.
If Jeff lets him go and then Kurt gets under Denny Hamlin, Burton might be able to follow him through and get the lead back.
You don't race people that can't beat you. And right now, that 2 car can't beat me, so let me get him out of my back. Let me get him in front of me, not behind me.
Matt?
Mike, same cycle as the previous runs. He's lost rear grip, just riding like DW said.
But Jeff Burton cannot keep pace with Kurt Busch and those fresh tires. In fact, maybe nobody can right now.
Probably not. Although they're not all that much fresher because he came, you know, they all pitted and then he had that wheel problem, I guess. I don't know if we ever got a report that it was or not, did we?
No, but evidently changing just to right side tires fixed his problem because he's all over the back bumper of our leader, Denny Hamlin.
He knows, just like what I was saying, he knows if he can put a little pressure on Hamlin, Hamlin will let him go. And we're hearing from the pits that it definitely was a loose wheel on the 2, which is very, very unfortunate.
91 laps to go as Mark Martin comes back up to battle Brian Vickers for 12.
But remember, he restarted this race on the last caution back in 24th, and he's about to get back to the top 10. Problem is, he's almost a half a lap behind our leaders. He would need a little bit of a caution, I think, to really help him out.
Ahead of Mark, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has fought and flirted with the top 10 all day. He's about to catch his Hendrick stablemate Jimmy Johnson. It's hard to think of Jimmy Johnson being not much more than a 10th place car at a place like Martinsville. Krista?
Well, they had been making small adjustments all day, but on that last run, Jimmy told Chad Knaus his car was needed until the end of that run before it got tight in the center. So Chad said, we are going aggressive on this change. They went up 3 rounds on the bar. That is the most aggressive change they made all day, trying to make sure his car is free enough for the long run at the end.
Martin Truex has had a top 10 day. The 2-time Nationwide Series champ running in 9th place after starting 20th, and that's pretty much where he's been for a good part of this race. 8th, 9th, 10th.
Just a good solid run.
Car's clean looking, no damage on it.
Got a nice camera in the front of it, taking care of it for us today. Appreciate it.
And in front of Truex, Joey Logano, a rookie no more, and running like the top 10 contender that he's come to be. Nice 8th place run for Logano.
Well, he's had a couple of tough races. You know, he had the problem at Atlanta when Keselowski got together with Edwards, sat on the pole at Bristol, was good in the beginning, then went backwards and then started having some tire issues.
We didn't expect much from the Fords here today. Martinsville just has not seemed to have been a Ford track, but Matt Kenseth was 10th in practice, and he's got a strong top 10 run going in 7th place. Matt's finished in the top 10 in every race this year.
He's only Ford in the top 12, top 13 right now.
Well, his crew chief has won here before, and that's it's showing today.
There is the gap from Denny Hamlin back to the 31 of Jeff Burton. Steve.
Well, Mike, now the question is, can the 11 make it to the end on fuel? Now, before the final restart, crew chief Mike Ford said, save me a little gas. We might be short. I just asked Scott Wood, the gas man, if they could make it, and he's held his forefinger and his thumb up very close. He said, it's going to be close.
Well, they pitted with 134 to go. We got the restart with 128 to go. That all seemed to be well within the fuel window of what the crew chiefs told me yesterday morning would have been race day.
Well, the crew chief didn't have to worry. What would he have to do?
Well, of course, here you got to worry about 3 attempts at a green-white checker.
Right. And it's always close.
Caution is out, and pit road is a busy place.
Mike, they backed up on the track bar adjustment from the previous stop. The car was too free early on entry. Steve.
Pat, Denny Hamlin saying he's still just a little bit too tight. They put an 1/8 of a turn, 1/8 in the left rear.
Hamlin wins the race off pit road from Jeff Burton and Kyle Busch.
Well, the rear winner, Todd Parrott, in that 17 group, as well as Greg Zipadelli in the 20 bunch.
We are under caution because of Marcus Ambrose getting into Kevin Conway. Here they come into the corner. Conway leaves plenty of room on the bottom, but Marcus just turns him around.
Marcos has had several encounters today.
It's been a very adventurous day. He is the Tasmanian madman today.
Well, Larry, no more question on fuel now.
No, it's all about tires and cautions. We're going to have about 74, 75 laps to go when we get this restart. No more fuel issues. In fact, I'm not sure they would even dump fuel in these cars now. It would be all about changing tires if we get cautions.
Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now in the Sprint Cup Series. Biggest mover in this race, up 18 spots from where he started, and no surprise, Ryan Newman, currently 8th. As of right now, Matt Kenseth would lead Jimmy Johnson in the standings by 34, with Jeff Burton jumping 4 spots to 3rd. For more, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed.
And there's a lot of benefits to leading the points. We saw that here this weekend with by one.
Absolutely. Kevin Harvick. That great pit stall undone by brake problems. When Todd Parrott, Matt Kenseth's crew chief, won here in 2001 with Dale Jarrett driving, all they led were the last 6 laps.
All that matters is the one with the checkered flags waving. They led that one. There's Todd Parrott. Been over working in the Roush Fenway fabrication shop on Speedway cars after the Daytona 500. Took over, and you mentioned it a while ago, Mike, coming into Martinsville, only 2 cars that had 5 top 10 finishes in 2010. Matt Kenseth and his teammate Greg Biffle. Looks like Matt Kenseth could be the only one after today.
Todd's dad, Buddy, helped me win a couple of races here. One, as a matter of fact, when we came from 4 laps down. Another time we were here and we didn't win the race, but we changed an engine in 12 minutes.
Wow.
Blew up going into turn 3, came down pit road and changed the engine in 12 minutes. Got me back out, finished 10th.
Here's the way they'll restart with 75 laps to go in the Goody's Pain Relief 500. The 2 Virginia drivers have led a total of half of this race. 140 laps for Burton, 102 laps for Hamlin. 22 lead changes so far. That's 3 shy of the track record.
And even though he's well back in 11th, I think that caution is exactly what Mark Martin in that 5 car needed, trying to overcome that penalty from a caution ago.
Green flag, and Burton's going to have to get busy or he may lose 2nd spot to Kyle Busch.
I know Kyle is not, I don't think he has a winning race car, but I think this is as good a race as I've seen him drive all day long. He's just been hard. He's been hard at it all day long, but just really worked, and here he is in 2nd spot.
He had to do that a week ago at Bristol, qualified 38th and got to the top 10.
Big 3 wide dust up in the backstretch. Tony Stewart, Sam Hornish, Elliott Sadler, and it all sorts out after a bit of contact, and Jamie McMurray flailing the taillight panel there.
Yeah, Mike, I bet we get a caution for this because that thing's going to come off.
Well, they're going to put the black flag on that 1 car, which means he's going to have to come to pit road. Of course, what they hope is that it comes loose before they pull the scoring card, and then, of course, everything would work out.
Black flag for the number 1, McMurray.
McMurray should have gotten that car behind him, the 34. He should have let him get it behind him and slammed on the brakes. Knocked that baby off.
Just a piece of fiberglass. Jeff Gordon side by side with Logano. This is the 7th place battle, with Ryan Newman looking on.
All right, they are displaying the black flag with the white cross to the 1 car. Means you can keep running if you want. We're not counting your laps.
McMurray is 4 laps down. Larry, he could pit and lose 3 laps and not lose a position. So no excuse for not coming in, and here he is. Now it's Newman under Logano and Mark Martin coming. That big conveyor belt looks like it may hurt Joey Logano's chance at a top 10 finish today.
Well, and Mark Martin's got to go. We know based on what we saw with him almost since the drop of the green flag, he's got a good race car. He's just got to get back to the front, and he only has 68 laps to do it.
McMurray in and out after getting rid of that bumper cover and taillight panel. Denny Hamlin and teammate Kyle Busch now 1-2 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Matt, how much of a threat is Kyle Busch to Hamlin?
Well, his concern before they made that last stop, they needed to make the car turn better, so Dave Rogers made a big call, both combination wedge and track bar adjustment to help that car. And then an observation from the driver. He says, I believe we've lost all of our aerodynamic downforce. And you look at the car, I wonder why.
Yeah, we didn't need him to tell us that. We've been watching that.
We're looking at it, and we can see it. I don't know. I guess he can feel it.
Right now, you can feel Jeff Burton right alongside. Burton's going to come right underneath, trying to grab second spot away once again.
But I think Burton's teammate Boyer, he's going to try to follow Burton through there if he can get there.
I think what's working out right now for that 11 car is that the 18 is holding the 31 up, because the 31 is fast for about 20 laps. So this is right what the 11 car needed, Hamlin.
Mark Martin may have slapped the wall last time by, coming up off the corner and digging hard to get up from 9th place.
These cars, I just don't worry too much about them if they just slap the wall.
Right.
Because these cars will slap the wall and laugh at it.
A little damage on the right rear. Not sure if that was there already.
That foam that they put in the right side of these cars now and the left to protect the driver, what a great idea that was. That has really saved a lot of cars from having to go to the pits when they do scrub the wall.
Tell you what, I've been watching this battle here between Jeff Gordon, Martin Truex Jr., who you're riding with, and right behind him, Newman and Martin. This is a battle for 6th position. Gordon actually just took it away from Truex.
Boy, that's a worrisome place to be. You see how that 39 just keeps looking to the inside, looking to the inside. Martin Truex in the 56 knows if I turn down and he decides he's going to go,
turning down into trouble.
Could be trouble.
You know, looking back at Ryan Newman, who started back in the 26th position, we knew all of a sudden a few hundred laps ago that he just kind of showed up in the top 10. Dick Burton was explaining to us what Tony Gibson did is he rolled the dice earlier in the race and changed just 2 tires, got the track position, and then caught a caution, and he's kept that track position ever since.
Here comes Newman again, this time on Truex. And that'll be for 7th place as Denny Hamlin leads Jeff Burton by 0.6 of a second. That margin staying constant with 60 laps to go.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Nationwide Insurance, is sponsored by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, and by Subway Restaurants. Enjoy so many $5 footlong subs all day, every day, only at Subway.
52 laps to go. There's that lead, 0.6 of a second, the same as when we left you. Our aerial coverage today brought to you by DirecTV. Learn how you could win $1 million at directv.com/NASCAR. Mark Martin moved past Ryan Newman for 7th. Otherwise, the top 10 about like it was.
50 to go. That's when you got it. You got to go now.
But you know, back to Mark Martin. Mark needs one more caution, I think, just to get caught back up in that group. You know, he's been fighting and clawing, trying to overcome that penalty from pit road. If he could get him one more caution here shortly, I think he'd be a real player.
The one more caution going to come, Larry, just like it did at Bristol. Am I going to stay out and or am I going to come in? It's probably about 20. What's your?
Well, just remember, our FedEx Understanding the Race, the trends is we normally have a caution with roughly about 25 to 30 laps to go. Right now, 49 to go.
So I think in that window, then you got to decide what to do.
Jeff?
Hey guys, what I'm thinking about is we saw early in the race where a couple of guys got stuck out when Kurt Busch decided to stay out, but this guy, Mark Martin, and his crew chief, they elected to stay out. No argument there, and made a pretty good showing of it. And a lot of people have said you let these tires cool off, they'll run about 15 or 20 laps before they drop back off. So maybe, where's the number going to be? 20 or less, maybe you stay out.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, again, they changed tires and we went back racing with 74 to go. I think you would need to be inside that 20-lap window for no tires staying out to really work for you.
It's just too hard to pass. I mean, you know, you get behind somebody, even though you got 4 tires, you can't go anywhere.
And look back a week to Bristol. Yes, Jimmy Johnson took 4 tires and won the race. But if more cars than just the front 4 had taken only 2 tires, then maybe Johnson doesn't get back to the front soon enough and win the race, despite having 4.
The only good thing is, and it kind of it throws a kink and everything, is the double file restart. And that you're in the line that goes.
Yes.
And how do you know until it's too late?
Jeff Gordon under pressure from Matt Kenseth. There's the lead battle, just about like it was. And here comes Kenseth, and Kenseth's got a mirror full of Mark Martin as they battle for 5th.
Well, you know, I remember here, what, Larry, a year ago, I think it was, when the 48 wasn't very good in practice, and they mirrored the setup of the 24, and actually the 48 ended up beating the 24 by just inches.
Yeah.
Looks like they mirrored each other again this weekend.
Because they've been running in the same area together for most of the race.
They just have not had that edge that you normally see here for those cars. I'm really surprised the 24. I thought he would really be, I thought he'd be a handful today.
He's about 6 seconds off the lead. And a good battle back here at 15th place. That's David Rudiman, 16th Paul Menard, 17th Brad Keselowski, and Greg Biffle is mired in there with him. Biffle has top 10 finishes in all 5 races so far this year, and probably not today. Ambrose is still on the lead lap.
Yeah.
For as many skirmishes as he's been in, he is part of that battle and is still a lead lap car. And
well, remember,
a little surprising.
Spun out in turn 4 almost back to back.
Yep.
Spun the car around, got going. Yeah, he's had an adventurous day.
Yeah, that little pack of cars, and then throw in the fact of David Reagan in the 6 right behind them. The cautions they've fallen perfectly for them as they were just about to go a lap down several times.
And the rest of the lead lap cars are Hornish, Kane, and Gilliland. So 23 cars on the lead lap. Nobody 1 lap down. Kurt Busch would be the next car to get a free pass. He is 2 laps back.
And he just went down that 2nd lap to our leader just a lap or so ago.
You think about Menard, and you know, he comes in here and was in the top 35 in the points. He was in the top. He was in the chase actually. Didn't have to qualify on time. It's been a good start to this year for him.
9th in points entering this race. 38th last year entering the race. So what a difference. He's been in the top 15 most all day.
And even Scott Speed, I think that's a big surprise too, that how well they had run, even though they're having a bad day today.
Jeff Burton has not been able to eat into Denny Hamlin's lead very much. Right now it stands at half a second with 38 laps to go. Denny Hamlin in the 11 has work to do. There's just 29 laps to go and 2 laps to go going into turn 1 without any traffic. Whoa. Jeff Burton gave him a bump to let him know he was there and he wants the lead back.
Man, Burton now is doing what a veteran driver would do. He's showing him the nose of that Caterpillar car every chance he gets. Corner entry. He wants him to know he's down there and makes him look over there and say, is he coming or is he going?
This was about 4 laps to go as Hamlin tried to square off the corner. Burton said, not so fast.
And they are catching heavy traffic now. That's another thing that's playing a huge factor, is we're under 30 laps to go now.
Mark Martin coming after Matt Kenseth for 6th place.
Nice recovery for Mark.
Mark continues his march up the board.
You think about it overall today, Larry, the 5 car has been the best Henry car of the group.
And that's pretty much what we saw in Saturday's practice. Probably the biggest disappointment. We thought the 88 car was just as good as the 5. Right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. sitting back in the 14th position.
And Kenseth prevails, holds on to 6th place. A good day here for Joe Gibbs Racing. All 3 cars in the top 10. Hamlin leading, Kyle Busch in 3rd, and Joey Logano 10th. They've done it once before in October of 05. Tony Stewart finished 2nd, Bobby Labonte 4th, and Denny Hamlin 8th. The only time that Joe Gibbs Racing put 3 cars in the top 10 at Martinsville.
Boy, I tell you, these guys right here, the 17 and the 5, and here comes the 39 in the picture.
Here
now.
comes the 31 in the picture, Darrell, going down the back straightaway. He got that nose to the inside.
Got him looking.
He's got room. There's a lap car ahead. Mike Bliss on the inside. So Burton is just trying to worry Denny Hamlin out of the lead.
Hamlin says, I come here and I got a great car. Jimmy Johnson pokes me out of the lead. Now I got another guy back here wanting to take it away from me.
Well, and I think there's a lot of reasons that 31 car wants to take it away. Remember, Richard Childress Racing across the board, winless in 2009. He's going to take another look, getting into 1. Hamlin slams the door.
That's just right where you want to be, though. Right where you just.
Mark Martin has bounced off the wall this time.
Boy.
And the right front's down.
Yeah.
Right side tires.
He's in trouble. That thing is torn up.
21 laps to go at the stripe.
One down here in turn 4. Another one. The 1 car's got a tire down up in the wall.
And that will not be his first time to have a tire issue.
Watch Mark Martin as he got up close to Matt Kenseth, and away it goes. Ouch.
Mark makes it to pit road, though, and we stay green with
Jamie
21
Mack
to
will.
go.
I didn't think he would, Larry. He stopped up there in turn 1, but he was waiting for a gap, and now McMurray can get down and out of harm's way.
So we do stay green as we got 20 laps to go. And a lot of lap traffic up in front of our leaders.
Yeah, it looks like that Burton thinks he might be able to make a run on the outside here, because you'll fight for that bottom so hard that you'll slow yourself way down, and sometime you can slip up on the outside and get by a guy.
Casey Kane on the outside of the leader is the last car on the lead lap. Ahead of him, Tony Stewart. Hamlin takes the bottom. Burton will have no choice but to follow.
Darrell, do you think Burton will try to sucker Hamlin to think he's going to go on the outside and then try to shoot the gap to the inside, getting in the corner at some point?
Oh, he's playing games right now. He's messing with his mind. He wants him looking back, and that's what he's got him doing a little bit.
Stewart gives way, but they're double wide in front of the leader now. Well, Robbie Gordon clears Travis Kvapil. Gordon is on fresh tires. Robbie, that is. He just came out of the pits, so he scoots away. Truex has given 9th spot over to Jimmy Johnson.
I don't know. Almost looks like something happened to the 31 a little bit. All of a sudden, he's starting to push up off the corner.
Yeah, he's definitely lost about 4 or 5 car lengths to the 11. 11 has just yarded him now here in the last lap and a half.
I'm not so sure, Larry, that some of that contact that he made with the 11 hadn't cut the. I'm not sure the right front tire's not going down on that car.
We got a tire going down.
I think that backs it up what he just said.
Something happened all at once, and they made a lot of contact, and yeah, he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's got a right front tire that's going soft on him. Matt.
And Larry Mack, you heard him say on the radio, they've got a tire going down. His old teammate Mark Martin, they melted a bead on the 5. It'll be interesting to see exactly what his issue is with the tire on the 31.
Burton needs to get to pit road before he blows that tire. Blow the tire, hit the wall. You can take yourself out of the race.
He just went way up the racetrack in turn 4, Darrell.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's.
And he surrenders 2nd to Kyle Busch. What a tough break for Jeff Burton.
You know what he's doing? He's looking at that scoreboard and saying, "Can I make 14 more laps?"
Well, he just lost 2nd to Kyle Busch. It's a long way back to Jeff Gordon right now that's in the 4th spot. So that you're exactly right, Mike. He's trying to milk this thing to get to the house 500 laps.
Ride it out.
13 to go.
And suddenly Denny Hamlin has no contest, and his closest pursuer is his own teammate Kyle Busch. 2.6 seconds back, and Hamlin is pulling away. Dr. Connor, surgery's going to have to wait till Wednesday.
But when you think about those 2 Joe Gibbs cars that's up there right now, Mike, Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, only 1 top 10 finish in 2010 between them, and that was Kyle Busch at Bristol a week ago.
7 laps to go plus 2.7.
I'd say he'd be able to save him some fuel now if he wants to.
Well, he should be in good shape, though, with that last caution we get. The biggest thing I think he needs to be with that kind of a lead is just be cautious around these cars, especially at this point when we're starting to see some right front tires go out.
Some serious racing going on right here.
Yeah, this for 6th place. Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, Joey Logano, and Mark Martin, who is going to be down laps, 2 laps after that unscheduled pit stop.
You see the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, not far behind Joey Logano. Right now, Johnson's back in the 9th spot.
There it is, in the wall.
And we're on 10 to go.
No, caution's out, caution's out.
The caution waves for Jeff Burton.
Now, you know, it's not a whole lot different what all the other guys have done. That's what I was afraid of right there, you know.
Just kind of kissed it. But what a great run. Gone bad right at the end.
It's a shame.
But now what makes this caution very interesting is you know, it's a no-brainer for the top 8 to 10. You know, we're going to get restarted with probably less than 5 to go. You've got what you got. Just make sure you get them cleaned off. But I think you look back there, maybe Vickers, Earnhardt on back with 18, 19 cars on the lead lap. I believe you come and get you 4 fresh tires.
I don't believe I'd bother. I think I'd hold my track position.
The saving grace for Hamlin is how many cars behind him don't come, but he's coming, and so is Kyle Busch.
Oh my gosh.
Both the Gibbs cars give up the first 2 spots to come to pit lane.
No way.
I don't agree with that whatsoever.
And Matt, nobody comes with them.
And that's exactly what Dave Rogers said. He felt like if they stayed out, others would peel off behind them. Kyle in his spot slides to a stop. The car beat up but looking strong on the racetrack. No adjustments, just 4 tires, Steve. 2 tires.
Matt, no hesitation in the 11 team. They were going to hit pit road. Mike Ford asking spotter Curtis Markham, tell me if anybody takes 2, but they are going to change 4 on the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
20 cars on the lead lap, and they are going to start somewhere around 15th.
Yeah, it's
with a handful of laps to go.
I just.
Well, again, guys back there 9th, 10th are behind.
Fine.
Like I said, come to pit road, get 4 tires. Remember, as I mentioned, you will get 3 attempts at a green-white-checkered in case we get there. But as far as those top 2, I am not believing what I just saw. They just handed this race away.
I'm not either.
I think to defend that strategy, everybody was mindful of Bristol. Only a couple of cars took a couple of tires, and the guys behind them got 4-1.
But you could pass at Bristol.
Yeah.
It's not that easy to pass here.
This is not Bristol.
Exactly.
It's the same length, but that's only similarity.
This is Bristol laid down flat.
So the new leader is Jeff Gordon.
Hello.
Who inherits the lead. And who's alongside? Matt Kenseth. Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, Joey Logano. Then Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards. Kyle Busch will restart 8th. Denny Hamlin will restart 9th. So that's row 4 and row 5, and we will have 4 laps to go.
And you know, it's one thing when you take 4 and another guy takes 2 and you're all on pit road. That's one strategy. That's one thing that you know you can see that. But when you come to pit road and nobody else does,
Yeah, our top 7 cars, which will be the first 3.5 rows on this restart, will have the older tires.
Right. Well, it was a case of monkey see and monkey don't. The 2 Gibbs cars get tires. A lot of cars take the wave around. Most of them are laps down. So here's how we'll settle it. Jeff Gordon, who has 7 victories at Martinsville, is in position to win a grandfather clock. This track's unique trophy. Matt Kenseth is the one who will try to beat him to turn 1 from the outside. Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, Joey Logano, and where did he come from? Jimmy Johnson, now 6th. Carl Edwards 7th, then Busch with 2 fresh tires, then Hamlin with 4 tires from row 5. 4 laps to go. Green flag.
it's going to get crazy.
Joey Logano did not get a good restart. They bottled up behind him. Newman fighting to the inside of Kenseth.
All backed up and nowhere to go. Jeff Gordon all alone out front.
Unless somebody can do something to get up there and get on Jeff Gordon, he's out of here.
Only shot they've got. Somebody's going to have to turn somebody around. 3 laps to go.
Hamlin makes it 3 wide getting into turn 1. Carl Edwards is stuck in the middle.
He's going to make it. And Jimmy Johnson has to give way.
Well, Hamlin's on a mission. You know, they feel like they've handed this race away. He's trying to get back to the front.
I've never seen 3 wide racing at Martinsville, but we're seeing it right now.
We're getting it done. 2
Yes,
to
sir.
go.
They're making it too.
There goes Hamlin to the inside. He'll take the 4th spot away from his teammate, Joey Logano. A lap and a half to go.
Too little, too late.
Going to be harder from here.
Yep.
Matt Kenseth in 3rd, Newman 2nd, Gordon trying to win his.
Kyle Busch is sideways.
More time. Nice and smooth.
That's going to
One more
bring
time.
the caution out. Now it's going to get interesting. Very interesting.
Imagine that.
Because Denny Hamlin had made it to 4th, that means he'll start on the outside of the 2nd row on this restart.
Boy, how can you run a great? You just run great all day long. Everything goes well, and you end up like that.
Didn't see who turned Kyle Busch. It might have just been a consequence of 3 wide racing into the corner.
That is
Let's have
not
a
what
look.
Jeff Gordon wanted to see right there.
Kyle 3 wide, Menard in the middle, and the 47 underneath.
47 and 98 have been all over each other for 200 laps.
And Kyle Busch was the victim.
I don't know, Larry. The way the 24 is so good, the 39 is going to start beside him. The 11 is going to have to start outside behind the 39. I just don't see the 11 being able to get by both of them.
It's going to be tough. I mean, he was very good right there. He was picking them up and laying them down like a man possessed, but it's going to be tough.
Jeff Gordon's crew reacts to the caution flag. They did not need that, but if you didn't smell it coming, your nose is stuffed up.
Well, I said they were racing 3 wide at Martinsville, and I hadn't seen that for a long time.
And we will have to complete at least 1 lap, or we'll do it again.
That's right. .500 laps are complete, but with the new rule going into effect this year, we will have up to 3 attempts at a green-white checker. And the controlling fact is whether or not the leader takes the white flag under green. If the leader takes the white flag under green, the next flag ends the race, yellow or checker. If the leader does not take the white flag under green, we'll try it again and again if needed.
Well, and when I look at these guys in front of Denny Hamlin, you just think about it. Jeff Gordon, he only won 1 race last year. Ryan Newman has not been to victory lane since he won the Daytona 500 a couple of years ago. And it's been over a year since Matt Kenseth in that 17 group won a race.
Well, those cars have all been good. They've been up near the front. But man, Christmas came early today.
Well, except for Jeff Gordon. He got a big Christmas present by getting the lead back. And now Scrooge has come, and has he taken it away?
I don't know. I just don't see how, if he gets a good restart, I just don't see how he can lose this race. You know, with 3 laps to go, green, white, checkered, I just don't see how he can lose this race.
Well, I promise you, if that 11 wins the race, I will be one of the first ones to victory lane to congratulate Mike Ford for that call of coming to pit road and getting 4 tires with less than 10 to go at Martinsville.
Darrell, what does Denny Hamlin have to do here, starting outside 2nd row, to have a chance?
I think he's got to knock the 39 into the 24 to have a chance.
Not that that would ever happen in Martinsville.
Well, I don't know. We have to see how it plays out here. Just got to get a good restart.
So who do you like?
Well, I like the 24.
Chris, Jeff?
Well, 6th race of the year. We've already had, this will be the 3rd time we've gone to the overtime, and we're not done yet. I like Jeff Gordon as well. Who do you like?
I'm pulling for Jeff Gordon to bring it home, but I want to remind Darrell Waltrip, he remembers one time going off into turn 3. He was 3rd on the final lap, and he knocked Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt out of the way to win the race. Hamlin's not done yet.
All right, Jeff Gordon trying to win his 8th race here, Mike, at Martinsville.
Well, been a long time since Denny Hamlin. You know, I mean, they're trying to get their season on track. And Matt Kenseth. We didn't expect the Fords to be much of a factor here, and yet here is Kenseth fighting for this win.
Good, clean race. You look at his race car. He has, I mean, he hadn't been in any trouble today. Of course, neither had some of the other guys that ended up in trouble here just a minute ago.
Now, they just added a lap of caution. That doesn't change the 2 laps, but what it changes, every lap of caution, the 17, the 39, and the 24, their tires are cooling down just a little bit more and a little bit more.
But what I like is how the 17 and everybody's keeping those tires cleaned up. You got to do that.
Well, this weekend coming up, we're all going to hide Easter eggs and take Sunday off from NASCAR on Fox. But coming up in just 2 weeks, Phoenix.
The sun went down.
It's a duel in the desert.
The moon came up.
These boys love the nighttime.
Things are freaky here.
The nighttime is the right time.
The duel in the desert. Coming up just short of 2 weeks' time out in Phoenix, Arizona. But first, we have Martinsville to settle as Jeff Gordon looks to tie Cale Yarborough for 5th on NASCAR's all-time win list. Gordon hunting his 83rd victory, and Ryan Newman will start alongside. He was the fastest car in pre-qualifying practice, but Newman had to start deep in the field, 26th, and now has a chance to win it.
Well, this will also be another test for have at it, boys.
The gloves are off.
I think we're getting ready to have at it.
Look how many races since any of those top 3 have been to victory lane.
I would feel good for Hamlin if he was on the inside. I just don't know, unless something happens where he can dive to the inside and get behind Jeff Gordon, then he's got a chance.
Well, Darrell, you said it in the first 100 laps. Short track racing, 8 tires corner a whole lot better than 4.
Ooh, yeah.
So we're into overdrive, green, white, checker. And this year we get 3 attempts at it if needed.
It'll be just like Bristol. It's really going to depend on who goes. If Gordon goes, if 11 could get to the inside and get behind Gordon, I'd be a little worried if I was Jeff Gordon.
I think these fans that had to wait to Monday, they're going to get their money's worth.
2 by 2, 2 laps to go. Gordon, Newman, Kenseth.
He can do it. Cut down if he can get down in that hole right there. Looks like
Kenseth's going to shut the door. Gordon walks up the racetrack. Here comes Kenseth to the inside with Hamlin following.
Everybody bumped everybody. Here comes Logano. Hamlin inside. Jeff Gordon.
Kenseth overcomes the corner. Here comes Hamlin.
It is Hamlin.
Got him.
Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano take the white flag. The next flag ends it.
Well, Larry.
3 wide into the corner behind them.
I guess we'll be heading to victory circle.
About 5-0 to 20.
Oh, lordy, lordy, what a mess. Never would have thought it.
2 of the Gibbs cars are going to end up 1-2. Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano,
what a
Jeff
call.
Gordon, then Newman, Truex.
What a call. Mike Ford, you are the man.
I will come to see you. Mike, I've been waiting 10 years to say this as a broadcaster. To quote a famous baseball broadcaster, I can't believe what I just saw.
TW's first win.
Wow. Surgery will have to wait.
Oh, it'll feel so good.
Wow. Well, let's go back to the restart as Denny Hamlin lights him up for the fans at Martinsville, who were rewarded with a great show after having to wait a day to see it. Here's the restart. Hamlin gives the bump to Newman, and here comes Kenseth to change the order of everything.
Yeah, you see Gordon got loose getting down in the corner, and when he did, there went Matt. And right here, I thought the 11 was going to really make a mistake, but he was smart. He waited, and the 17 took care of himself. And just as easy as he lost the lead, he got it back.
Yes, he did.
How about Joey Logano?
Yeah.
Wow. Just followed Denny Hamlin right up through.
Yippee!
A 1-2 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing. Aren't you glad you stuck around? So are we, and we'll be back to Martinsville after this.
Promotional considerations provided by
from the DirecTV blimp, Matt Kenseth does the bump and run on Jeff Gordon. Here comes Hamlin right up the middle, down to the inside. And as Kenseth and Gordon get together, Denny Hamlin cleans everybody's clock at Martinsville And that Ridgeway grandfather clock will be his third. Dick Berggren.
Well, congratulations, Denny. Mike Ford, your crew chief, was just here. What'd you tell him?
I can't believe it. I thought it was the end for us, but as for all the people that doubt us, we're still going to get this thing done before the year's over with, and just got to thank everyone, FedEx, got to thank Sprint, and all the fans that came back out today. It's amazing to see this crowd. Coca-Cola, Toyota, Wally X, and what a great job all day long.
How was the knee today?
It hurts, but I'll be glad to get it over with tomorrow.
What were you thinking when you pitted and you saw in your mirror Jeff Gordon still out on the racetrack?
Wasn't necessarily worried about him as much as the other 10 guys that stayed out. That's hard to do. I mean, I had to bully the way through there towards the end, but everybody was just running into everyone. Then I flattened my tire with Kenseth going down the backstretch, and just that just somehow made it work.
Congratulations, Denny Hamlin, a Virginia boy, wins here in Virginia.
All right, Virginia is for gamblers. Wow. All right, the third straight Martinsville race that Denny Hamlin has led the most laps. And you heard him. He thought it was over. Second-guessing Mike Ford, crew chief, the aggressive call. And, of course, Matt Kenseth really helped out getting in the way of Jeff Gordon, and Hamlin made his move.
That's true right there, but also the extra restart right there. I mean, the way it played out. I mean, everything went the right way. But he did it. He got up on that wheel, and he made the most of a bad situation. And, again, Mike Ford, I think you need to let him go to Las Vegas, buddy, because, I mean, that was the call right now of the year.
And coming in 19th in points, Denny Hamlin really needed this race to move up the ladder. Jeff Gordon could have used it as well. Yep. And let's check in with Jeff. Disappointing finish for him. He's with Matt Yoakum.
The fans paid for a good old-fashioned short track race. That's exactly what they got. Jeff, walk us through those final laps on that green-white-checkered finish.
Well, the real unfortunate part was that yellow came out with about 100 feet to go to get the white. We had the thing wrapped up. I mean, we had a tough day, we were so awesome at the beginning. That outside lane was just so terrible on the restarts that, I'd lose 5 or 6 spots. So, I really give this team a lot of credit for sticking with it, fighting back, and having great pit stops. On that last one, I didn't get a great start, but a pretty decent start. I saw the 17 was way behind me, and I drove into one, trying to not overcook it, and he drove in the back of me so hard that I don't know what happened. If the 11 got in the back of him or he just drove in the back of me, but I made sure he wasn't going to win the race after that.
Jeff Gordon, another stellar run here in Martinsville.
Well, Joey Logano, a great finish and a great day for Joe Gibbs Racing. Talk about that wild finish to this race.
That was awesome. That was really cool. And the big deal for me with the Home Depot Toyota was starting on the bottom. The top was not good all day on restarts. We went backwards and then was able to be pretty good at the end of a long run. So, just kind of beating and banging everyone out there. It was a ton of fun. And after the last couple weeks, to get a top 5 back up here, it's so much fun running up here. So I gotta thank all the guys back at the shop. This is. It's a lot more fun than it was last year, I promise you that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, this was the place where things really turned around for Stewart-Haas Racing last year. Top 5, great finish, but I know you were really seeing so much more ahead of you. What do you take out of this?
Well, it's just a great run for the Haas Automation Chevrolet. We needed a top 5 as a team or as an organization. The guys did a good job in the pits all day. Unlucky on the outside there on that last restart. To get a top 4 out of that on the older tires, I can't complain. So, Jeff couldn't hold his line on the bottom, and then he opened the door for everybody. And Danny drilled me in the bumper going in through 1 and 2. I'm amazed we even got it back to the start-finish line.
Yeah, when you're unlucky with a top 5, that's still a good day for Ryan Newman.
All right, so even when Jimmy Johnson doesn't win, he never led a lap in today's race. Came in red hot, Jeff Hammond, but he is your points leader after the brake problems. Took out Kevin Harvick, who led 57 of the first 58 laps. These are the points after 6 races of 36 in the off week for the Easter weekend.
Well, the key thing right now has to be the fact they've been solid all along. But when you start looking further on down, Joey Logano made a big jump today, got right in behind that top 12. Carl Edwards, but look at Denny Hamlin. Big move in the points for him, but he gets himself a win early on.
Denny Hamlin in his 10th Martinsville Cup race, his 3rd win. the 29-year-old for Joe Gibbs Racing, the gambling head coach with the gambling crew chief. And Jeff, the danger zone, the car owner points here are critical.
Yeah, it really is. Robbie Gordon came in here hoping he could gain some points, get back in the top 35. He slipped further back, but there's still going to be a big battle here, just like we see for the top 12. These guys trying to stay in the top 35 week in and week out, just as important to them as it is making it into the chase.
FedEx, the slogan is, we realize you need reliable shipping options, reliable racing options, the decision made. But Denny Hamlin was one of those guys at the end of last year who said, hey, we can challenge, we can step up to Jimmy Johnson. This kind of aggressive call by his crew chief and his kind of aggressive driving with a bad knee and all is what it may take, even though Johnson's our points leader.
And you take a look right there, there is his teammate, right? Joey Logano finished second behind him. And he didn't come down pit road like the 11 car did. He elected to stay out. So, I mean, great finish for that young man. But, yeah, you're talking about every now and then you got to push the envelope. Well, today, the 11 car had a good race car, but the biggest difference was they made a call that, if you look at it any other way, should have not worked.
Not worked, right.
And it worked. I mean, and it worked because of a lot of things. But the main thing was Denny Hamlin stayed in there and kept digging and kept beating and kept banging. And in the end, paid off.
Well, and the excitement of the multiple green-white-checker overtime finishes, which I think has been a terrific addition. The 7th time in Cup racing that Joe Gibbs has had drivers finish 1-2. In fact, the last time was 2009 when it was Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, and that happened at Bristol. Saturday baseball in a couple of weeks. It's the opening to the regular season. The opening lineup, including the defending world champion New York Yankees, World Series champions, and then the Subway Fresh Fit 600 from Phoenix. Mark Martin, the pole sitter, won the race last year. Remember, it was his first win after turning 50, and he's still racing around the track.
Take a look right there. That big grandfather clock, that's the big trophy here at Martinsville. Everybody wants to win. It's very important for all the drivers who've ever run here at Martinsville. That's what they're going after today. Denny got his third.
A 508-lap race. He led 172. Jeff Burton led 140. Martinsville Monday after Rand washed out qualifying Friday in the race yesterday. Happy birthday to Greg Scopatoni, part of our crew on Tuesday. Our director, Rich Russo, in for Artie Kempner, recovering from shoulder surgery. We wish him well.
And the good thing about it, rainy days and Mondays normally get you down, but not for Denny Hamlin.
And also Lynn Mignani, our logistics coordinator for Jeff Hammond. I'm Chris Myers. Have a great Easter. We'll see you a week from Saturday on Fox.